Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's guide on how you can watch Scarlets take on the Sharks this weekend over in Wales. The URC is back and you can watch 3 out of 4 South African matches on a free broadcaster throughout the weekend if you're either in the UK or Ireland or if through the use of a VPN. Now, the question is, what is the VPN? VPN is a virtual private network, and basically what that'll do is it'll geolocate your device to make it seem as if you're in another geographic location or country. And the reason that we can do that is that then gives us access to free broadcasters from all over the world. Now, this specific game, Scarlets versus Sharks, is being shown on a free broadcaster or free channel called S4C, which has a web player. It is free to register. You don't have to give your credit card details or anything like that. It takes 2 seconds, and you'll be able to watch all the action between the Scarlets and the Sharks for free on Saturday night. So first things first, you're going to download ExpressVPN. We've got a guide in the description, step by step, exactly all the things you need and what you need to do. You're going to install ExpressVPN. As you can see, this is what it looks like. And you're going to go to those 2 dots on the right-hand side, and you're going to go and click the UK or any United Kingdom server, and you're going to turn that on. And with that turned on, you can then go to S4C, which is a Welsh language channel. And as long as you've got it turned on, you can then press play, and it'll start working. It's going to take a little while, because the internet is a bit slow at the moment. But basically, if we didn't connect to the United Kingdom server, you would not be able to watch this as it is geographically located. So we're just going to refresh the page. Sometimes you might have to use a different browser. Sometimes you might have to refresh the page a couple of times. But as long as you're connected to that, there we go. As long as you're connected to the server, it will start working. All the action will be live on Saturday evening. And it is as simple as that. So there's really no excuse not to watch any of the action. You can watch Stormers versus Leinster on TG4, as well as Bulls versus Arsenal on RTE2. These are all free channels. You use ExpressVPN. You've got guys on the channel. You can also use ExpressVPN to watch every single match of the World Cup for free as well. So get yourself ExpressVPN, get yourself ready, and enjoy the action this weekend.
Hello and welcome to the Forever Sports Rugby Fan Forum, hosted every Thursday. You are here with Reza, Rion, Chris, and Wesley Hartman, who is our special guest for today. Welcome, boys, and welcome back to another edition. Good to have you here.
Good to be here, Reza.
Yeah.
How's it?
Yeah, look, not too bad. Looking forward to the return of the URC. Looking forward to some more rugby. I mean, we were just talking off stream about just how much has been going on, and we have a packed agenda for everyone today, a bit of Currie Cup, a bit of URC. Of course, we'll touch on the Six Nations, which is the big talking point for today, and some interesting transfer news and appointments within the world of rugby, which I'm really excited to get into. To start us off, though, today, gents, I've got the great honor of having a friend on the stream, in Wesley Hartman, who is I'll tell you what, I'll let you introduce yourself, Wes. Tell us about your journey in rugby and how you got here, and let's go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Reese. Yeah, and how's it, everyone? Great to be on here. So, I mean, I went to school with Reese. I played high school rugby for Crawford. Sort of almost cracked into a couple of the provincial sides. Got through to a couple of the final rounds. But yes, it's really tough to sort of get that final nod, but didn't let that deter. So played all the way through to matric, and then had the opportunity to go and study in the US, which was phenomenal, and end up playing some serious rugby over that side. So I went across, when was it, 2012? So this was pre-MLR. So actually sort of, at the end of my time there, that was just sort of coming about, and we'll get into that a bit later. But ended up playing for a university called Kutztown University, sort of quite a well-known university in terms of rugby, but otherwise quite small in itself and kind of arbitrary spot in Pennsylvania, but really a lovely, lovely spot. And it just, gave me an amazing opportunity to play rugby abroad and also travel the States. Because the university was quite good at rugby, we had to travel quite far to play opponents, that we weren't able to sort of just stick around in our area. So we got to travel up and down the East Coast quite extensively. We did venture sort of central US a couple of times. That was quite rough, a 17-hour bus ride to Arkansas to get our butts thoroughly kicked. And the 17 hours felt longer on the way back. I don't know how, but funny how times it works like that. And then a couple of times we went across the East Coast, which was just such a different experience. And it's really amazing there to see the culture in US rugby. So East Coast, you've got sort of very traditional kind of 15s mindset, maybe even a bit like European in a sense. And then you go out to the West Coast, and because you've got the Islander influence, you've got the Samoans, you've got the Fijians, you've got the Hawaiians, the Tongans, sort of in greater numbers on the West Coast there. That sort of flair of rugby just sort of, does really well there. So yeah, it was fantastic to see. And then eventually got selected for the All-American side, which is like the US equivalent of the junior box. So we toured with them down to Oz for 3 weeks, got the privilege of actually co-captaining that side, which was fantastic. And yeah, then came back to the US and had the opportunity to potentially sign a professional contract.
Nice. So did you ever get to race Carlin Isle?
No, so no, absolutely not. I was not super quick, but not super slow. But there was a guy, Danny Barrett, who played on the USA 7 side. He was their sort of big strong man, like our Frankie Warren kind of guy. I was maybe on pace with him. He wasn't slow. I was on pace with him, but you check him against Carlin and he's just in the dust. So I use that as my marker.
Fantastic.
A few people would mention, yeah.
Look, I think you had to ask the question there, Rian. So I'd just like to start off with that fantastic brief introduction there from Wesley. We've got two very cool clips of Wesley, which our editor will put on now, just showcasing a little bit of what he used to be able to do. I don't know if he can still do it, but I back him. Let's have a look.
They got to be patient. Good job, Wesley. First one there. Look at him carrying Zach Bonte down the field.
Bonte, the workhorse for the Bruins, taken for a ride, a good 5 meters, and Kutztown now in control.
Get wide, in and out.
Triggering the offense for Kutztown. It was 12-0 Dartmouth. And Kutztown has answered back, staying on his feet. It's all about the desire.
That's why Wesley Hartman's the captain of this team. He wills himself out of 3 tackles on the way to the go-ahead score for Kutztown, the senior from Johannesburg, South Africa. He's a great kid, Wesley Hartman. Talked yesterday about his battle with type 1 diabetes. He's insulin dependent, wants to be an example for all kids out there with type 1 diabetes. Say, look what I just did to Dartmouth. You can too.
Oh, very cool clip there coming through, and I would love to see it. So just to get a bit onto your personal story there, Wes, so we want to have a little bit of a chat about the level of rugby in the US, and obviously it was a little bit of time ago when you were there. But in your opinion, would you say how far behind is the US in terms of the international game and their perhaps grassroots sort of rugby?
Yeah, okay, so let's break that down, those two parts there. If we go international first, and we need to split that further, I guess, as well. You've got the 15s and the 7s, right? We all know that on any given day, on their day, the US 7 side can compete, does compete, and does beat world-class teams. So I think it's just about consistency now. I think the 7 side has amazing athletes, and there's a really good sort of program, sort of identification program there. If you want to argue which country has the best athletes in the world, I'll just point to the USA Olympic medal tally. There's no doubting that they've got incredible sort of athletes. It just comes down to Yeah, exactly. It just comes down to sort of getting them in that rugby mindset. So the difference is that when you're playing against sides where rugby's embedded in the culture, you've got guys who see the game, so much differently. So the 7 side, I think, is not that far behind. I think we'd actually say they're probably on par, generally, with a lot of the top performing sides. Again, consistency, is a big thing. Looking at the 15s, though, that's where the problems come in, because despite the athletes I've just spoken about, despite quite a bit of money that I think they have access to, they just seem to not be able to kind of get any momentum and build on that. You know, I've had a couple of close friends in the system play for the Eagles. I was fortunate enough to actually watch him, Niku, he's a South African who played for the US, and he played against the Box in the, the 2016 World Cup in England. So that was phenomenal to see. So having conversations with him, and it just, I think like everything comes down to really nasty politics. Guys with not necessarily agendas, but ways of doing things. And so you have this discontinuity where you don't allow for anything to build. So I think if they could just get in a solid coach, I think, is it still Gary Gold? Is he still their head coach?
I'm
I
not
could be
sure.
mistaken.
He might be director of rugby now or something. Can't remember.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if they just give him a solid coach with a proven track record who knows the game, and you just keep him there, come hell or high water, I think you allow that to build in that culture. In terms of grassroots, though, that's where it comes to. Now, when I was there, as you mentioned, thanks for pointing out quite a while ago, it was the fastest growing sport for all the years I was there. So for 4 years, rugby was the fastest growing sport in the US, which was fantastic. Really, really great to see, and great to hear. So you had these guys joining, getting involved, you know, but it's still got a mountain to climb. You know, that sport culture in the US is, I mean, we think we like our sport in South Africa, and we do, don't get me wrong. But yes, as those oaks say. I mean, like to the level of where you've got university football, they call it college football. You've got pretzels. You imagine having UJ styled, flavored, colored pretzels, or Wits or UCT pretzels. Like these oaks have food branded after the universities, like for their football. And I think when you're dealing with such, you know, an institution like that, you know, it's never going to rival those guys, but it doesn't need to, right? It doesn't need to be as big as that. I think they just need to somehow get on par with the world-class teams to be able to perform, because they can.
All right. No, thanks.
I think I actually saw the highest paid government officials in almost like 90% of the states in the US are college football coaches. So the money is insane.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of money in it, and I think you're right. And I mean, we can speculate about the reasons why they aren't quite at the level that they are, and maybe we're being a little too harsh, and maybe it obviously takes some time. This is still very new to them, you know. And so, Chris, if I could get your perspective on this, do we think, honestly, as South Africans, that the US will ever catch up and compete on an international stage, or are they always going to be, let's call them the minnow or the second tier team?
I don't know. It's like we were just saying. I mean, because they're so big, I always thought that with everyone that's there, that everyone that wants to play rugby, they should be able to put together really a few decent professional teams, right? Like you're saying, they should really start to compete. I think if they have the right systems and structures in place, I think they can creep into the top 10 in the world. I really believe that. I think they certainly surely have more resources than the Italys of the world and Fijis and Georgias, you know, so they just apply themselves. And this league, I enjoyed watching the MRL now. I'm getting into it. It's still a nice betting league because the bookies haven't caught up to some of the teams. So I know I'm really enjoying it. And you say the sevens, I think suits their style for sure. But I think I would say there should be enough people in the pot there. But it's like you say, like we born and bred in rugby, right? Before we can even talk, we know what a rugby ball is, similar to them with their American football. So when it's so ingrained in you, there is a little bit of a difference there in how you're gonna, you know, approach the game and play it, you know. But yeah, I think with the right people, if they keep their league going, I was actually gonna ask, I don't know what the structures are like underneath the MRL teams. Do these teams have? I was actually gonna ask, do they have second team, third teams? What is the level above these Premier League sides that are going at the moment? What does that look like there? The feeder teams and so on.
Yeah, I think Wes would probably be best placed to answer that.
That's what I was asking Wes. Yeah, I was asking Wes, how many teams do these guys have? Yeah, like in these clubs.
Just quickly there, sorry guys. Yeah, Chris, I can't hear you. So if you saw my thumb there, I was trying to see if I can set it my side. So,
okay.
Yeah,
well, let me just pass on the question.
Sure.
Chris just basically wants to understand, you know, but beneath the MRL teams, is there like a second tier, third tier structure? Is it my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it goes basically college almost straight into the national structure?
Yeah, exactly. So what we call university college there, that pretty much feeds direct. Well, it used to. So while I was there, the transition happened, right? So let's say my first or second year, you would go straight into a national side. They've got obviously their top side, and then they've got their second tier, which they call the Falcons, right? So what we call the box A, they call the Falcon side, and those are generally the younger guys who then they try blood and train up to play the US sort of first team. But in terms of there being, so you've got MLR now, in terms of being under that, there's nothing really official. There's lots of clubs, lots of club rugby, especially sevens, right? Seven club rugby is massive.
Thank you.
But in terms of a structure below that, and I think end of the day, it always comes down to money. Like, again, I've got friends who've played in this league, and when it was starting out, unfortunately, they were quite badly burned because contracts were, well, not quite what they should have been. I think guys were just so grateful to keep playing and get paid. But hopefully now it seems that it's becoming a bit more professional. So I think as more eyes get on it, as they start bringing in more money, obviously it's how it works, right? There'll be more money to give the guys, and hopefully that can make it sort of a more attractive option.
Great. Thank you very much, Wes. So we'll get back to Wesley a little bit later on in the show. Right now, we'd like to move into the big news of the weekend, boys. And obviously, we're not gonna quite start on the most exciting game, but let's have a chat about the Six Nations quickly. And honestly, I've enjoyed it so much. It's been a while since I've watched Northern Hemisphere rugby and really got into it. And let's start off with the Italy-Scotland game. And Rion, a 26-14 result in favour of Scotland. What do we think about this Italian side at the moment?
Potential, I suppose. Potential, and then game management is my other issue with them. I actually saw an interview with Sebastian Negri today, and he said they've decided that being the old Italy team that's game management and playing the right side of the field wasn't working. They were getting clapped by 50 points every game, so they've decided, nah, screw that. We're going to start running it from our 22, come hell or high water. And I suppose if you look at the numbers, that's helped for them this year. They've done better. But I just feel they've gone a little bit too far in that direction. Their kicking meters are not even half of some of the other teams, and they just never exit. So I would love to see them just, with all that running that they use, just get a little bit more game management and exit a little better, and things might go even better than it has been.
All right, I've got some views on that, but we'll get to it in a second. But let me just pass it on over to Chris quickly. Do you feel that Italy was slightly unlucky? I mean, they were 19. I think they were 19-14 down at one point, and really pressuring Scotland, and a breakaway try from Scotland basically sealed it up. So is it fair to call them unlucky, or is this just another poor Italian side?
Well, I think you guys have got to know me the last couple of weeks what my thoughts are on the Italian side, right? Like to be fair, you can see that they're changing their style, right? And I think that's the right thing to do. They weren't what they were doing the last 20, 30 years as a professional team. They weren't breaking through. But like I say, for me, they're still limited for them to do that. If they want to do that, they've got to keep doing this now, and maybe accept that they're going to make mistakes and lose games like they've been doing. But for me, it's not even that adventurous, that adventurous, what's the right word, adventure of them, whatever, that style to play. If you watch, they don't exit the 22. They get themselves offside. Scotland camp on their line. I mean, it's basic. That's not even like let's play rugby. It's just basic stuff. It's basic shit. Stay behind the kicker. Don't go offside. Then they get to the 22, and some oak runs in front of the guy, accidental offside, 5 meters out, and they do this. I've watched this for 20 years, and it does my brain in. I've never enjoyed watching them because of that, but I have to give them credit. They are trying something different. They are looking a bit different. But they've got to start winning tier 1 internationals for me to really get I'm going to say respect, but they're 14th in the world for a reason, right? There's other teams that are not in the Six Nations and who are above them, and there's a reason. And they're making improvements. Like, I've heard this whole shift, they're investing in it, they're going for it. You're looking how Wales are struggling, Scotland are also struggling in the under 20s. The Italian under 20 side arguably is actually better than those teams at the moment, possibly. So they could over time be a shift of So I'm going to try not be too cynical and negative and keep bashing them. I've heard this opinion, so I'm going to give them another 5 years. I'm gonna give them to 2030, and I want to see them not win.
I think
not
that's
winning one.
I think that's an absolute joke, Chris. I'm sorry. I mean,
But
I honestly, let's pause for a second, and I'm gonna be blatant in my opinion, and you say they look different. Rion agrees they look different. They're trying something different, and are we not just talking about another wolf in a different sheep's clothing? They're the same thing over and over again at the core of it, a losing team, and Wes, frankly, I'll chuck this one over to you. I'm going to throw you a stat show, Wes. In the last, okay, actually, I'm gonna ask you if you know the answer to this. In the last 42 Six Nations games, how many games do you think Italy has won? 42.
I
don't know the answer to that. okay. Let's get. Can I go to Rian, please?
No, just have a go. What's your general opinion?
No,
put on one hand.
I mean, I want to say, okay, how many have won? Realistically, it's maybe less than 10. Around there, let's go 8. Why not?
Whoa.
-7.
Yeah,
-7.
You had the answer.
One game in 42 of the last Six Nations. And you have to wonder.
That's my point.
What's the purpose of having them in this competition? I frankly think they need to earn their way back into it. And they've become fodder for everyone else, and it's a bit of a joke at this point. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Okay,
I haven't seen
and fair enough, but I think my pushback might be you don't get better by playing worse teams, and arguably the other 5 teams in the competition are the best in the Northern Hemisphere, and so constantly being exposed to that, I think, is good. Now, yeah, okay, there's definitely some sort of key thing that's not clicking. Why aren't they getting better? They've played how many years in the Six Nations, but I think relegating them to a secondary division where they're going to play competition that is maybe below them and they're just going to breeze through that, I don't think that builds them. I think there's something to be said to keep showing up week in, week out, year after year, knowing that you might be fodder.
I would agree with you. I will end this discussion on this Italy talk by
the thing is they can't get relegated.
It works on shares. They also deserve a chance to face top. Yeah, but they deserve a chance to face other top nations who are and get battered by somebody else. Let Georgia get in there and get stuffed up.
Yeah, I know some people don't like this relegation.
Look, absolutely. Maybe there should be some sort of thing, but I think just sort of sidelining them might be premature. I think I hear what you're saying, Reese, about is it a sheep in another wolf's clothing or whatever the thing is, sheep in wolf's clothing. But I don't know. I think there seems to be, and maybe it's the naivety in me, and maybe it's the hopeless romantic for rugby. But I'd like to believe there's something different here. I think you can, if you look at their captain, they've obviously always had a stellar captain, but the new captain, he's just really inspiring, and the guys are rallying around him, and there seems to be something different. And I'm not going to bet the mortgage or the house on it, obviously, but I hope that there is sort of a real change, and that these close wins, as you said, were they just unlucky against Scotland, the breakaway try, should bounce the ball, or is this going to be a consistent thing? And unfortunately, only time will tell.
Yeah, imagine 40 games of the ball bouncing the wrong way.
Can I just one?
No, and I hear you, but what I'm saying is that in the past, absolutely, there's been something that's not been right. But I'm saying this season, so far from what we've seen, or at least last season and this year, it does seem to be more the ball bouncing the wrong way, as opposed to the Italians causing the ball to bounce the wrong way, if that makes sense.
I think Rion, was it Rion or Chris?
Chris. No, I was just gonna say last. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I still believe. I still think 2 tiers, 3 tiers in rugby, relegation, promotion battles would be nice to see. I think Georgia, Romania, Spain, even Portugal should be given a chance, because I think they can give Italy a game, probably beat them on their day, and if they deserve to go up and spend a year in the Six Nations thrashing it out, they should do it. And I think so. Have a 5 nations tier 1, 5 nations tier 2, 1 team out, 1 team in. Maybe every 2 years, 1 team in, 1 team out, something like that. I think that could be and that to motivate, because like I said, it kind of feels like the new, I don't know if you guys heard, there's this new some international south versus north thing come in, and they really still tossing these teams aside in that format. So what motivation is it for those guys then to like really push themselves, right? Where Italy's just going to be put there, but still get their asses handed to every single year, like.
Yeah, Chris, I hear you, and thanks for that, boys. So let's hear, if you are listening to this on a podcast, you're listening to it live, please let us know in the comments for next week, especially. We'd love to hear from you guys whether you think that perhaps a relegation promotion model is appropriate for the Six Nations, and do Italy deserve to be there? Is the next question. So as we move on to the next game, gents, I'd like to talk again. I'd like to leave the big one for last, but Wales-France, 41-28. I'd still call it a drubbing, although the pundits in Wales would say improvement, and I'd go, well, I'm not really too sure. I think that certainly Wales showed a lot of effort, a lot of chutzpah to score some tries, and they looked a little bit better. And to be honest, with the caliber of player that they do have in that group, it's not unexpected that they would be doing slightly better. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about France, because we know about Wales's woes, we know about the internal struggles that they're having. We've always talked about France as being a dark horse in a World Cup, and it's very much like the Belgium situation in football. They've always had this reputation, and often it hasn't truly been backed up. But I think, personally, going into this year's World Cup, that they're a bit more than a dark horse. I think that they can solidly say, based on performances and not on reputation and voodoo and all this hype around them always being the New Zealand in World Cups, that they are genuinely one of the favorites. Is that fair to say? Let's chuck it back there to Rian.
Yeah, they are scary. I think basically, especially after that England game, it felt like there's no one in the world that could beat them. If they stay injury free, they stay well rested, and they're playing in France. I mean, they don't really have to leave France, any of those players, for the rest of the year. They'll be playing everything at home now. The top 14 ends in June, so that's a massive gap between now and June and September when it starts. So they should have a long, good rest and time to get ready. They are, for me, they should be the favorites, equal favorites with Ireland, because they're so good, France because they're home. I think that for me is currently the rating. We can match them, but our discipline has been terrible. Theirs has been much better than us, and I think that's where we've been losing a lot.
Yeah, and Chris, sorry, I always do this to you, and I always chuck you in the deep end a little bit. But are we seeing an improvement, perhaps in on how the bookies are seeing France, or is it kind of still not too sure?
Still even my France, yeah, it's still neck and neck. If you shop around, you'll find France or Ireland are just over even money each. France, I think Ireland after this, they are just creeped in a little bit actually on some bookies. But I'll stick my neck out. I've been saying France for the last 3 years, and that doesn't change. Yes, they've had a little bit of an offish Six Nations, but I always have said, if this France team wants to win, they win. So they wanted to win they were not good against Ireland. Ireland were good, dubious cause. I'm going to throw that out there. Wales was interesting. I just think they were just playing like a park game. They just like kind of when they wanted to go and put the ball under the poles, off they went and they did it. And I agree with Rian. I think also just at home, that French fans, it's a 16th man for them. They're a different beast at home. They've been planning for this for years. Like I stick my neck out here. Ireland have been great. Nothing against Ireland, but even against England, the first 60 minutes, they were nervous and they were not sure they were going to win that game. Now, if that was a proper switched on France or Book team, would have Ireland maybe even won that? So I'm still thinking you're going to get to a quarterfinal. I don't know where it's going to be played. If it's Parc de France or Marseille, I still will put my neck out and say France will beat Ireland in a quarterfinal, and that's going to be my call until that quarterfinal.
Listen, we had
I think it's possible. As long as Paris isn't on fire from strikes, there should be.
Yeah. But look, we had some abuse last week for apparently Ireland bashing, and so Chris,
did we? And you've done it again.
Yeah, I pray for your soul, and I hope that you'll. Thanks for the.
I need to. This island side is amazing. They've proven it, but I still don't think everyone got on that Italy train that's left the station. Everyone's on this island train. I'm just saying they're not unbeatable, and they're still got to go win that World Cup. But even though it all, when England won it in 2003, it's got that feeling like New Zealand in maybe the last two World Cups just feels like it is going towards Ireland's way. But I think man on paper, all things even, bounce of the ball even, ref decisions even, France are the favourites.
Yeah, I mean favourites to win the third place playoff, because obviously it's a fair team to win, right? Of course, but
at least France makes finals. That's the one thing they do. They've played in.
Yeah, that's. I mean, 2011 lost to Tonga and we're 1 point away. Well, let's face it. If Juppé put his hand up there in that last 5 minutes, it was over Scudovers for New Zealand, wasn't it?
All right, so boys, again, I don't want to get too deep into Wales. We've got a lot to cover today. They're horrible, they're woeful. We move, okay?
Amen.
And they're going to make the semi-final, but I didn't say that. So.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. You heard it there first from Chris.
Yeah, you heard it, yeah.
Wiz, if I could let you start off on the big one here, the big boy, the St. Paddy's weekend, the Grand Slam on the cards.
Paddy's, Paddy with a D. Don't get it wrong. People keep out.
My apologies. And some serious history on the cards for Ireland. So it was a 29-16 win in favour of Ireland, and I'm sure the boys have been partying hard, if you've seen on social media. Ireland are deserved winners. Would you just straight up, would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I think short answer, yes. They definitely look like one of the most consistent teams, definitely more consistent than England. But it's always been between them and France, it looked like this season. It was fantastic to see. I think I'm really excited to get your guys' take on obviously the Stuart card. I'm sure we'll get into that because I'd love to hear your thoughts, and there's been lots on it. But I definitely think, Ireland looking like they are firing on all cylinders, and by all means, they must go out and party and drink lots of Guinness, and just don't slow down.
Get a little
I was thinking that as well. I've seen his videos as well. So keep going, boys. Keep going.
I think I saw they showed up to I can't remember which.
It's Ringrose's house.
Ringrose's house.
Yes, his parents' house. Yeah.
On day 4, because he refused to come out on the 4th day and keep joining. And good on them. Well done to the Irish, and we applaud them for winning. Congratulations. For me, well deserved. And for the Ireland haters last week who didn't like that we thought that they weren't going to win the World Cup. Here you go. A little bit of praise for them. And so we headed to some really cool stats. A 4th Grand Slam for the Irish across both 5 and 6 nations, which is an incredible feat, by the way. It's not easy, even though you've got Italy in there. And more importantly, boys, it's what a time to peak, right? You've got a World Cup here.
Oh, the dreaded P word.
100%. I mean, the peak is just outrageous. And to be honest, barring, let's call it New Zealand, on a couple of occasions, generally the team that's really at their peak in World Cup year doesn't actually meet expectations. But we're not putting that video on them. Please don't hate us in the comments. We are just saying this is generally a fact. Rion, what do we think? Johnny Sexton, I mean, what is his last Six Nations game? He gets a Grand Slam.
We don't know.
We think. I'm assuming, fair enough, but the grey on his head's telling me something else. He becomes an all-time leading Six Nations point scorer, and a dream send-off for him. Where do we rate Johnny Sexton in Irish folklore, rugby folklore, and in all time?
I'd say probably on the level, they've all rated Brian O'Driscoll as the best ever. He must be level with him at least now. I think if they get that big Webb Ellis Trophy at the end of the year, it will be Johnny Sexton, best ever Irish player. Right now, for me, he must be on the same level as Brian O'Driscoll, just for the things he's done. He's basically a coach on the field. He's as old as I am, and he's taking those shots. So no, you can't not rate a man like that. Yeah. I stub my toe and I need to sit down for 3 hours, and this guy is getting tackled by Oranges and Olivon and those guys, and getting up and going again. No, you have to rate Johnny. He's one of the best, not just for Ireland, best ever to play the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We seem to have temporarily lost Wesley, but I'm sure we'll get him back now in a second. But Chris, if I could just throw it back to you. Well, I think Rion more answered about the ability of Johnny within the Irish side. But what is your opinion of Johnny on a global scale?
He's cemented himself there. He's up there now. He's top 5, top 6, probably if greatest to probably have played the game. Especially he's been in a few good Irish sides, brilliant Irish sides. Totally their talisman. I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan in the beginning. His antics on the field,
me a while as well.
Owen Farrell. He was a little brat on the field. He used to drive me insane. No, but honestly, he's got all my respect now. Watching him on the weekend, he's up there. You can put him top 5 fly off definitely of all time. Probably, I mean, I love Bod. Bod was still, when I was growing up, he was the man. But you got to probably say overall now what Sexton has achieved and his influence in that achievement, you got to put him as probably their greatest now.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that. I think that something that I really enjoy about Johnny and in general is his ability to take what I would call a traditional game and to elevate it through all of his years of experience. And he reminds me very much, in my opinion, of like a Mornay Steyn type vibe. You know, he's just clinical in the basics, and he does everything well. Perhaps not the exceptional and without the flair so much, but I mean that was your job, right? That's what you were signed up to do. And you do it well, and it wins you games, and it's such a poignant thing in all sports, by the way, in my opinion, to see the traditionalists coming out on top in an age where innovation is lauded and really shine gets the viral reaction.
I don't know if you saw the rugby, the good, the bad rugby pod. He was on there with Haskell and I can't remember his name. He hosts it, but they'll make him fun of, because he's not. If you look at him physically, they even joked he doesn't have shoulders. They called him tomato sauce bottle. But the thing is, like he said, and he made a comment that he actually in the gym he was actually stronger than a lot of people. I think he's just one of those guys, even though he doesn't look like a Nanu or specimen of Carter. I think he's one of those guys that got core strength and a strong mind, and that's why he influences the game and has influenced the game the way he has. And there's a lot to say for that.
Yeah, and Wes, I know you're beginning to get in on this. Let me just first check. Are you able to hear me, Wes?
No, now we can't hear him.
Now you're muted, Wes.
Wait, we can't.
Well, Wes, if you can hear us, you're having a bit of audio issues, and we'll get our technical team.
I could read his lips, and he was calling Johnny shit. He was saying, "No, this guy."
Word for word is exactly what he said. Audio man, go sort that out, please, with Wes. And in the meantime, Chris, what I'll also check back to you is the effect of Andy Farrell on this side. Oh, geez, Wes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's appropriate for YouTube, but we'll take. But yeah, Chris, like I said, Andy Farrell's influence on this Irish team, really cool. And I mean, I wonder if Owen sent him a little message to say congratulations. I'm not sure if.
No, for sure he did. No, I must say I'm surprised, because Ireland were progressing. Was it Schmidt that was the last coach before Farrell, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
They started to beat the All Blacks. They had a Grand Slam under him. They were doing well. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if that was going to be their peak. We're going to get. They're still going to be strong, but did not see what's happened in the last 3 years. No, and. I don't know about you guys. I really love I love to listen to the way people talk, and players and peers, and when people talk about certain people, and Farrell's one of those that has that respect that you can tell, and that's great. I didn't expect it, but it's really good for them, and looks like and that's. Besides, I think France probably have it as well, because they've had this cohesion. We've had the cohesion the last 4 years, and so have they, and that's why books us France and Ireland are, for me, the favorites at this point. New Zealand will obviously be there, but just because we've got the same core, the same culture, and it's there and it's ingrained. And I think I didn't expect him to bring it to the party, but he has.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that. Now, as soon as we get Wes back, we're going to get his opinion on this because I'm sure he's got views. But Rion, Yaku Paper, what the actual bleep? I mean, I'll get to his obviously the red card for Stewart in a second, but generally speaking, throughout that game, there were a lot of very dodgy calls going on out there. And I mean, look, everyone has an off day. The English will say it's because he's South African, and I will say, well done to Yaku. I hope he got paid very well. But let's have a chat, Rion. What do we think about Yaku's performance in general? We'll get onto the specifics of the red card in a second.
I don't know. It's hard to know. Every time he has a big game, whenever it's like Italy, Scotland, or something, he seems fine. But as soon as the game gets massive, the spotlight's much brighter. The microscopes come out, and then everyone just sees mistakes. I don't think the red card would have made a difference. Maybe they would have won by 9 instead of 13 points or whatever it was. But I don't know. It's just every time Paper plays, especially when he's playing against England or something, it seems like he makes mistakes. It could be because the accent just doesn't make him sound smart, but I gotta be honest. I usually don't try to look at refs. I try and see them as the invisible thing on the field, and so I never focus on them. I definitely don't like to rate refs. It's talking about the wrong thing of rugby, but people they're angry whenever a game gets close. The ref gets under a microscope. That's just the way rugby works.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. And as Wes joins us back there, Wes, let us know if you want to say something, so we can know if you're back. But in the meantime,
Reese, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Hey, fantastic.
So,
Chris, are you? Sorry, Chris, can you say something? So, are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me?
I still can't hear Chris.
Okay. That's fine. We'll pass along Chris's relatively, you don't have to worry about Chris. He doesn't say
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, yeah.
No, just sign language.
Jokes, Chris. But Wes, we were just having a chat, and we were just talking about Yaku Paper's performance. And I know you had some feelings about that red card. So would you like to perhaps explain for maybe the viewers who didn't, or listeners who didn't get a chance to actually see it, what happened? Did it deserve a red card? And is Yaku Paper on the payroll?
Okay, for those of us who didn't get a chance to perhaps see it, or those you rather, what we had was an Irish player sort of coming up to collect a loose ball off the ground. Sort of as he was picking it up, we had Freddie Stewart, the England fullback, coming in at quite a pace. Initially, it looked like he was caught between either wanting to go for the ball himself or sort of flatten the oak. And then at the last sort of minute, it felt a bit awkward. And so he tried to pull out of everything. And in doing so, sort of not even dropped his shoulder, just tried to turn. And the Irish player's head hit straight into his elbow. From my viewpoint and opinion, because this is all it's going to be, right? Because unfortunately, none of us can look at it, with completely factual eyes or unbiased opinion. But there was no malicious intent. I do believe he was trying to pull out and it got himself into a bad situation. People might argue, actually, he should never have gotten into that situation in the first place. And so that's maybe where it comes from. But if I really don't like the use of slow-mo, because things don't happen in slow-mo. Guys don't have that amount of time that we are watching it in. Oh, he could have done. It doesn't happen that way. It was literally in the blink of an eye, and it was all over. And so I do think it has to, when you're reviewing situations like that, I think real time is the only way, to watch it, because that allows you to sort of look at, get an understanding of what the speed the player was seeing it at. And even then, it's not a true comparison, because we've got this sort of bird eye view of all the perfect space. Whereas if you think about it from Maddox's perspective with adrenaline running, but yeah, anyway, so from my perspective, I don't think a red card. I think if you were going to go by the letter of the law, trying to stick to it at least, I think direct contact with the head, I think yellow card, just if you wanted to tick the boxes. But I do think it was quite harsh.
So let me just play devil's advocate for a second here, because someone needs to be in Paper's corner a little bit. We've got a situation where, and I'll use Cheslin Colby as an example, a guy who's on a couple of occasions been caught mistiming runs where he's going for high balls, and as a result, he's kind of pulled away, and he's like, oh no, and you can see he's not actually trying to tackle a guy, but he hits him with the shoulder, the oak goes flying over, like basically effectively cracks his neck, right? And he's been sent off on a number of occasions for it, and rightly so. Now, I know this is a different situation, but the laws are very similar, right? In that you can't put yourself in a reckless situation. Now, if you mistime a run, that's on you. And if you put yourself in a position where you're actually about to injure somebody because of your mistimed run, regardless of whether you're following through with it or not, is it still not your fault?
I think, I think if that's the way we're going to go about things, then rugby might as well just stop.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I've seen all the reactions on Twitter, right? This is the death of rugby, and thanks World Rugby for killing our sport. And look, let's not get that dramatic. But I mean, Reece, you played also for a number of years and stuff, and the decisions you've got to make on the field, the number of decisions and the speeds of the decisions you've got to make. And these guys are the top. They are the top performers around the world. And if they are making these decisions, they're more often than not bad decisions. So I do think there are times when, a truly terrible decision is made. The Oak's gone for the wrong call, maybe maliciously, maybe not, and it deserves to be punished. But I think in this case, it's something completely different.
Okay, so obviously I think there's a big distinction there between intent, and obviously we've all played this game. We all know what it's like to be in the situation. It doesn't mean though that protocols can't be put in place to ensure that as little of those situations happen. But Chris, Rihanna, do you have thoughts on that?
I think we all I think we all agree. Yeah, like I said, we've all played rugby, right? And I think I've done that. So players hit me, and I think I've copped one in the exact same situation. We both got up, and unfortunately, this player was injured to that, but that happens. That is rugby. Like I think, even like you say, even for contesting for the ball, I think if you make the decision to contest for the ball, that's your decision. Like, why is it someone else's prerogative to look after you if you both have the same intention? I think that's rugby. It's always been rugby. But when it comes to the ref, and I think this is not a sentiment. This is not Jaco paper. This is where rugby is. We've got far too many refs involved. We've got far too many laws that don't open up to interpretation. Ironically, we've got a protocol for a red card that leads to this decision. And I think, like we're saying, there's this. I think Super Rugby are tried, and obviously that protocol, if you get a yellow, it can be upgraded to a red. I don't know if it's the other way around. But if we're gonna have a hard checklist, and you look, guys, you can even see Jaco Paper didn't want to give the red. If you actually watch him, he was like, oh, gosh, I've gone through this checklist and I've got to send you off. But I think for me, this checklist has to also have some kind of common sense.
There must be just the little common sense section.
Yes, correct. So I think that even if he got to the red in his protocol, I still think there should be a 20-minute window where people take a breath, take a step back, and even that red card can be reduced to a yellow or something like that, because the game doesn't need. I'm going to put my neck out here. We're going to see something like that in the World Cup semi-final or final. I'm telling you right now, a decision like that's going to be made.
I think behind the closed doors, they're going to tell refs, don't give a red card in the playoffs. Even if it looks bad, do anything to mitigate it. Do not give a red card.
But we can't have that. That's we can't. No, like no one. It is. We love this game, but it is becoming a hard watch, and I do feel for the refs, but refs have got it hard. But you just see just see some weird decisions.
Yeah. No, thanks, boys. And I'd like to just touch on something that's been bothering me for a while. I know it's been played with, is the temporary red card, right? The effect of, if you do get a straight red, or a red in general, it's the 10 minutes off, and then a replacement by another player. I think that's a great model to work
20 minutes, yeah.
It doesn't destroy the game.
Yeah,
for both sides.
I agree.
And to be honest, I know we said that Ireland probably would have got away with this win, but as a product for the game, it felt like England were always battling up here. And
I don't like a
think
20-minute red card, I do not enjoy it. I think
I'm not
the
right.
idea of the red card is you have to feel like you've let your team down. That's one of the uses of the red card. You must feel guilty that you let your team down. That's one of the parts of the red card. What they need to do is they also need to fine that player. In hockey, there used to be brawls all over the field, all over the ice. And then they started fining people. NRL as well. They fined their match fees. Then all of a sudden that stuff went down a lot. People were more careful. They were bending over in tackles, that kind of stuff.
Oh, right. Okay, no, Rihanna, we're such idiots over here. Honestly, the correct approach was just deck the oak. I mean, let the bench get involved. Come on in, give him a smack around and let him play on.
I made a ridiculous suggestion. I got nailed for it. I said if it's a yellow card, -6 points. If it's a red, -12 points. Negative marking. And I got thrown under. So
all right.
That's obviously not going to work. But I thought,
the Forever Sports fan forum is now boiling down to conspiracy theories. But no, but thanks, guys. I do appreciate that. That's some really good input there. But I think let's boil this down very simply now. Ireland deserve winners, certainly in my point of view. I'm convinced, to be very honest with you. I hate to say it. I don't think I've ever said it before. I think that they are the front runners for this World Cup. I don't want to see it, but yeah, that's my opinion, and we'll see what happens. And
I was trying to look for odds for you. Sorry, from the betting angle, the odds at the moment aren't up. Actually, I wanted to say that for me, there's value on that side of the draw for Australia final, Wales semi-final. I think you can get good odds if you're a betting man. If you can find above 2 to 1 there, those are some good value bets. Who call?
Should you put money down before Eddie's first game or after Eddie's first game?
No, before. You've got to do it before. That's what I say. When you see Australia for the final, I'm trying to work. Just to use my experience, what you could find, you could get close to 10. It will be a good price. It will be a good price, and it will be a decent bet. It'll be a runner, definitely. Australia to make the final.
Right. Well, you heard it first. Now, to touch, boys, bring a close on our Six Nations coverage, and of course we'll be back next year for that. Let's talk about one very interesting piece of news that came out during this week. The appointment of Scott Robertson to coach New Zealand in 2024. Wes,
it's over, boys.
I don't know if you saw the news.
Rugby is finished.
I think there's not quite just yet. I think Scott Robertson is obviously.
I'm a Lions fan. I've got trauma against that man.
He hurt us a few times, but Scott Robertson, a serial winner with the Crusaders. I think it's 6. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. I think it's 6 Super Rugby titles, and I'm sure he will probably add to that this season as well. But he takes over in 2024 after the World Cup. Our incumbent Ian Foster is obviously not very happy with the situation, and he's expressed some very public outrage that this entire decision-making regarding his replacement has taken place before the World Cup. But they've got ahead and done it anyway. Is this a sign that New Zealand have effectively not only written off Ian Foster, which obviously they have by replacing him, but written off their chances in the World Cup by saying, we don't really care how disruptive this is to our team?
No, I think if you've got I think, in a country like New Zealand where rugby is, as big as a religion, if not bigger, I think they would never write off any kind of World Cup, right? That is their pilgrimage every 4 years. And so I think any opportunity to win one, they would want to. I think there's potentially lots of reasons why they might have done such a disruptive move. But I still think that they will want to win this just as badly as any other team, and if not even more so because of all this now. And I think if anyone's writing off the All Blacks, well, then that person's an idiot. But we'll have to see.
I agree.
100%. Okay, well, let me. It seems all three of you are in agreement with this, but let me throw some interesting facts your way. Scott Robertson has never coached overseas. I think that's a pretty well-known one. An interesting one is that the 2 most successful coaches in New Zealand history are Steve Hansen and Graham Henry. Both had international experience, or I should say rather overseas experience coaching before they took on the job. The other one is that he has never coached at an international level. So are we saying that the Super Rugby is enough to transcend into the arena of the biggest, let's call it, let's be honest, the biggest job in rugby?
Who did Fozzie coach? He was an assistant of the All Blacks, eh? Yeah, so he did coach before.
He came through the ranks, with the assistants. Yeah, Hansen was Wales, wasn't it?
And Henry as well.
And Henry, both of them were Wales, right?
Terrible records. They were shit.
Yeah.
But regardless of the record,
I agree. I agree with you. This is also another hype train. But look, he's a winner. So I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But I'm sensing, because I try to also get all the news as well, get all the sources, and I think there are a few New Zealanders that have the same thought, because I think Jamie Joseph probably has the experience. I mean, he has won Super Rugby's now at Japan, and he is a bit older. So I think some people are thinking, and I'm starting to think, well, this is a perfect time for Jamie Joseph to come do a World Cup cycle, and let Robertson go to England or Wales, and then Robertson will be perfect for the next World Cup cycle. That's how I probably would have played it out. But I think because Crusaders are, again, serial winners, you just see the way they play. They feel like they're more a New Zealand vibe, So I think everyone's excited to just see the All Blacks play back to that style that we all can't live with, And I think they're thinking that Scott Robinson will definitely bring that to the table. But it will be interesting. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll have the players on his side, and he'll have the right coaching staff, and they'll be New Zealand. They'll be top 2 in the world forever.
All right.
As long as we know.
All right. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. And I guess time will tell. I know he's got the backing of one of obviously the biggest name in eighth man, Kieran Reid. Very publicly backed him, and probably rightly so. But as I said, we've got a lot to get through. I would talk about the New Zealand politics for quite some time, but let's quickly touch on the Currie Cup. I'd love to run through, Rian, what were your thoughts? Would you like me to run you through quickly our results?
The results have been terrible.
So let's start with this. Let's start with this Pumas Golden Lions game. I'm not overly shocked at 34-27 game in favor of the Pumas. Again, I'm not really sure how many people are watching this. We don't seem to get too much engagement, on these points on Currie Cup games, which to me is already indicative that the news sort of maybe people are hearing for the first time when we bring it up. That seems to be my general impression. But 34-27 result in favor of the Pumas, unexpected, not really.
Not really. Mr. Stonehouse says his guys buzzing then Malacheni, as they call it now.
Yeah.
They're playing like champions. They're carrying on with that momentum they had last year. And it feels like the Lions are still playing an under-21 squad in the Currie Cup.
Yeah.
We just do not have the layers of teams that some of the other clubs have in the country. So, and I've also heard in the back rooms, we all know it's a bit of a clown show, that the junior level coaches and the senior coaches are almost never around the same table. There's interference from the CEO and stuff. So It is a bit of a weird one right now in Joburg. So I'm not surprised the Pumas beat them. They beat the Bulls as well.
Yeah, look, when your coach is coming out, a Lions coach, and of course he is coming out and saying that, the backroom politics definitely is playing a part in it. That's definitely of concern. Chris, and then I'll chuck it over to Wes as well. I'd like to just chat about the Western Province game against so effectively, if you didn't know as well, Blue Bulls obviously had a number of players available to them and stacked it with what is a relatively strong side, although they seem to still somehow be managing to lose with it. Western Province took another approach. They've got a huge game in the URC coming up against Leinster at the top of the URC. And so that John Dobson decided to field a second string side against a strong Bull side, and obviously expecting, or maybe not expecting, but at least wouldn't be shocked by taking an L against them. Chris,
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who wouldn't be expected, what happened there? As
a province man, I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. I did call a Bull. I didn't punted to you guys, thankfully. But I thought the Bulls should surely at home at Loftus take that win. But I think it's a sign of the time, guys. I think, let's face it, Western Province Union Stormers is the strongest union in the country. The culture's filtering through all the sides, and you can see that. It's playing out on the field. So I think a lot of people, even in my group, punting group, it took a lot of people to trust the Stormers, as did I, because 2 years ago, even in the COVID times, Stormers weren't strong. We were leaking, we weren't defending well. But this is an unregular. Dobson was the worst thing since sliced bread. Or now is the best thing since sliced bread, but he was criticized. It's just a big turnaround, and so it's filtered through the union, and the province and Stormers right now, I always say, are just very, very difficult to beat. Leinster will struggle to beat them tomorrow. Stormers might not win, but at the moment, it's the strongest union in the country. So I think we just got to keep that in mind.
100%. And Wes, does that come as a shock to you to know that province not only I would call grassroots, but it's not really, of course, that a second string province / Stormers team is beating what is a very strong Bulls team. I believe Similani did start, Corsi and all the boykies, I think, were pretty much involved there. Is it a shock to learn that out of the depths of liquidation, province have somehow risen to the top of the game?
Not entirely. I think maybe surface level, but I think you've got, again, that second string side. Those Oaks will see that as their opportunity to just give it absolutely everything. They've got nothing to lose, right? So again, being the side expected to lose, the underdogs, we know that tale. But those individual players, this is their chance to do something. And I mean, fantastic for them. They took it by the horns, well, literally the Bulls, and took the game to them and won. So I think, if you haven't played sports, maybe, given the facts, it might be shocking. But if you've played sports, I think you could understand why they were able to pull out that win.
100%.
But the guy in charge of the union off to Saru now, Rian Oberholzer. He was the administrator in charge of Western Province Union now. I think he's leaving.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah. So enjoy it while you can, boys.
Well, I think also this is another pattern of the 2-year itch of Jake White, right? 2-3 years, things kind of start
The
off with a
Mourinho
bang,
sickness.
and then things start to unravel, and maybe, and also what I noticed with the Bulls, I mean, you never see the same Bulls team. Like, there's always 7 changes every single week. How can you get any momentum? Guys probably don't know where they stand with Jake or where they stand in that squad system, and it's just, as you can see, they can't put a cohesive, solid performance together at the moment.
Okay, so big news coming out of Forever Sports. Jake White's still a Duis.
But also Dobbo, if you listen to Dobbo, he talks about the players. He says these guys, they're one for all for one mentality. If you listen to these things that come out of camps, they matter, and at the moment the Stormers are that. They're one team, one dream, and they've got each other's backs.
Yeah. Look, I think obviously they've backed John Dobson, and he's returning the favor here. So to run through just the remainder of the games that happened, a 52-12 win for the Cheetahs over the Griffins. Nothing unexpected there. Again, obviously Griffins struggling to find their feet, moving up to the Currie Cup, and of course I won't read too much into it. It could have been a lot worse, I suppose. And the Cheetahs, look, everyone expects to drop the Griffins, and we won't read too much into that result, I feel. And then obviously the Griquas with a 48-40 win over the Sharks. What a game, first of all. An incredible match. And again, still a shock result. I mean, although it's a weakened Sharks team, we probably were expecting them to come out with a dub here. Well done to the Griquas, and I'm really glad to see them coming onwards and upwards. Are we anything from your guys' side? Are we totally bamboozled by this, or is it just okay? Well, it was an up in the air kind of game.
No, they were finalists last year. The Griquas. You'd think they'd still also be good this year.
No, sure. I mean, we say that. I know we say that, but let's be honest. There's always these big talk from the unions and about how much investment they've got and the improvements that they've made and so on. And so you expect them to go, well, next year they're going to come out and absolutely stuff these Oaks, and it just hasn't happened.
No, I think the smaller guys, sorry, Chris, the guys
No.
like the Bulls, and I think the Bulls, the Sharks, and the Lions have young coaches as well now, where the Griquas and Pumas have two coaches who've been doing it for years and years and years. So there is a thing of cohesion there, like we all keep mentioning. I don't think they've lost too many players, either of those sides either. Maybe winning the Currie Cup gives you a couple $100,000 to keep some players in your team, and that's just helped them carry on with their momentum this year.
Yeah, just one or two pounds there.
Yeah,
all right, so then I just want to quickly have a little look here, and let's just have a look. I had a chair before me now. I wanted to have a get towards our fixtures coming up from this weekend, but I seem to have. There we go. Okay, so coming up on this weekend, we've got the Golden Lions versus the Griffins. I don't think anyone will disagree with me when I say that the Golden Lions should comfortably win that. I'd probably say about, let's call it 20 points. 20 points more.
That's what the bookies have. So you're about spot on.
For once, good to know. We got the Cheetahs against the Bulls. I'm not too sure about this. I'm actually going to go with the Cheetahs on this one. Wes, any views on that? Cheetahs, Bulls?
No, I mean, it sounded like the Cheetahs had a good showing last week. Again, the Bulls, supposedly that shock defeat, so they'll have something to prove now. So I wouldn't be able to call it either way, except it'll be hopefully some great rugby.
Now, let me just remind you though that Bulls team, all of the big names that they flooded last weekend, are obviously now not available to them, are playing in the URC once again. So I think that Cheetah side will be relatively unchanged.
But then
so then you've got an informed Cheetah side. But again, you could now then go with the Stormers approach of that sort of backs against the wall, nothing to prove, or everything to prove, nothing to lose. Look, I would never write off any team, even Italy, Reese. I know you hate it, but I've been proven wrong too many times. So I still stand by it'll be a great game. If I were to put money on it, okay, maybe that would fall the Cheetah side of.
Yeah, I would also go Cheetahs.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Wes still believes in Santa Claus.
So I mean, you guys are hammering on that the bookies have the Cheetahs as 13, 14 points favorites, so quite heavy favorites. But I see the Bulls, though, they've got Smith, Mapu, Hendricks in the midfield there. So, but again, it's so random. You got all this experience in the midfield, and then unknown Oaks out wide, and in the pack. And this is what I'm saying, like. You see these names, you think, oh, they're going to give them a run. But I think I agree with Wes. I think Bulls Cheetahs are not, they're often close games. I think the Bulls are going to be up for this. I think Cheetahs win, but I think the Bulls are going to give them a game.
Sure. I'd probably agree with that. The Pumas and Griquas, again, probably the highlight game of the weekend. I mean, how often do we get to say that? But
20,000 people at the stadium, eh?
Yeah, no. But I'm gonna put my neck out here and probably say the Pumas by 10.
You're reading the bookies, Reza. You got your sheet in front of there. He's just seeing the handicap. Yeah, but that's what the bookies have as well. It started at 10. It's gone down. Money's come for the Griquas. I would be on the Griquas plus 10 there, but I think it's going to be a closer game than 10 points.
What can I say? Forever Sports hired me for a reason. And then Sharks Province. I'm going to say that I think Province probably come out on top there, Rian.
Yeah, Province, they're just happy now. The Sharks also under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, 100%. So there goes
our summer games in Durban are crappy, so
100. Yeah, absolutely. So there goes our preview for the Currie Cup, and now we move on to the big one. And we do apologize if you're still with us and listening to what was an action-packed part of the weekend. But let's get on to the really exciting stuff. URC returns. I'm super excited, really stoked about it. I'd like to start off with a couple. We won't highlight all the games. I'm going to start off with what I think are the hottest ones. Let's go with the Stormers Leinster game. Guys, top of the log clash. It is monstrous. Let's get an initial reaction. I mean, both points. Okay, well, there are some differences here, though. We've got Leinster sitting with having played 15-1-15, Stormers having played 15-1-11. Although most people would probably say there's just not that much in it, though. Anybody want to take a bite at it?
Wes, you want to go?
Go, Wes, yeah.
I mean, not much to say at that. I mean, again, just mouth-watering rugby. What more could you ask for? Again, you know, I haven't been able to watch much of it, but we'll catch the highlights when I can. And yeah, both sides looking just firing really well. And so, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. But I will point out that that this Leinster side are probably struggling a little bit more with in terms of their personnel availability.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sexton is actually out with a groin injury, which he got over the weekend.
Out with a groin injury in Italy on holiday.
100%. And on the other side of that, we've got a slew of returning players to the URC coming back from the Bokker line, to the Stormers, from the Bokker line camp, from another avenues. Rian, what do we say?
Oh, the Leinster side, man, they're like a bunch of robots. How do you beat them, especially at home? If ever there was a side and a time to do it at their place, it was now. So I think the guys in the box and the team would be very up for this. They want to show the Irish sides they're not going to, especially Leinster, it's not going to be a free run to the title this year. They've had a bit of a coast. I think Leinster are playing most of the South African sides only now at the end of the season. So it's time to put a bit of brakes on their run. I think probably it'll be pretty even, and then the benches should come in. Where the picture I have doesn't have the benches. I think maybe the Stormers bench should be better.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
where it's going to be won or lost. I think that's where the Stormers might sneak a close one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Stormers side, and Chris, I'll put it over to you in a second. We've got Clayton Blommerkees, Hartzenberg, Dan Duplessis, Damien Willems starting at inside centre, Sanatla, Libok, Paul de Vet, and the big one for me, the return of Diane Money, which is a big one. We've got Ben Jason Dixon at 7, Dion Fourie, Marvin Ori returns as well. Ruben van Heerden, who's been quite a performer, and then we've got what is one hell of a front row in Francois Herbert, Joseph Weber, and Stephen Kitzel.
Thing of beauty. Yeah.
It's a scary prospect for anyone. Do you think and do you think that the return of those players makes a big difference?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I was going to say, Reece. I wanted to make the points before the team news. Leinster were 10 points favourites, and on the back of the team news, it's down to 5.5, and we think it's going to go to 2. So, obviously, I mean, you look at the team, and Stormers fan myself, and the Leinster don't have all their top guns there. There was also a heavy weather report initially as well. Lots of wind and rain. The rain has left. I think there's still going to be a lot of wind, which unfortunately makes it a game of
the book doesn't
two different
like
halves,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a worry. That's a lookout, because I think, let's face it, South African teams still, even though it's the names, we don't really like to go up there in the breezy Northern Ireland fields, and we don't really set them alight. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But this Stormers team this is what I mean. I think I've got some stats for you. I think when this team plays, they don't lose. They haven't lost by more than 7 in over a year and a half, and especially when Malherbe and Kitchell and Fourie and Willems are on the park, they're at an 80% strike rate. They're just so tough.
I'm glad they're starting Fourie. They're always bringing him off the bench to try and save.
How is he? He's some guy. This guy. Hey, what a story.
Little bulldog.
So I still worry because it is Leinster, but let's not be surprised now. I think a lot of people. I know I've spoken to my Leinster mates who are going to the game tomorrow. They're nervous. They're a little bit nervous. Yeah.
I hope Dweba has been practicing his darts in.
I sent a gift. I sent a gift today. Good luck, Joe. Thoughts are with you. Best of time is when it's no wind. It's a struggle. So maybe the wind will blow it straight. Maybe it's a good thing.
Look, and Wes, just to catch you up as well, I think we've got a Leinster side who fielded what they call and what everyone called a second string side last season. Where the Stormers barely got over the line against them. I think it was 2013, something along those lines. And so I think they have a bit of a point to prove, Leinster, in saying, well, listen, actually, we could barely scrape against our second team back then. I think you're going to get a bit of a drubbing now. And my initial feeling is I don't think Stormers get over the line here. I'd be keen to see what you think, especially in conditions favoring them. Surely we've got to respect them more now. I mean, we've been called out numerous times as Boks supporters and South African supporters that we can't seem to get past the facade that we are unbeatable or our best teams are the best. I think we've got to. I think it's about time we maybe show a bit of humility, right?
Jeez, I mean, yeah, like, I for me that's just so foreign. Like, I think anyone is beatable on any day, you know. So I think if you go into any game without respect, you are asking to be beaten. I think that was something consistently I found when you'd write off teams or whatever because you thought it'd be a win or what. You got your ass handed to you. So look, I'm all for an attitude of humility. I don't like to talk before the game, even during the game. I'm very happy to talk after the game, like in terms of, you know, once everything's on the field and the result is done and we've achieved what we need to achieve, then we can talk all the smack we want. But up until that whistle goes, like, let's just put in the work. Like, that's what's going to ultimately bring about the result, not going in there swinging things in the wind, but actually bloody, you know, getting over the try line.
Throwing balls in the ring.
Very, very PC there from our from our guest over here, which we appreciate. No need for it though. We're all very uncultured here. But yeah, I'd like to just say one thing though, is that I'm not saying that we should be writing the Stormers off necessarily. Just that they maybe deserve a bit more of our backing than we think. And Matthew Dixon,
I agree,
saying the URC SA teams are going to win.
Well, Lions are getting dragged in the chat over here. I don't know what's going on.
Matty Dixon, you are exactly what I was talking about, buddy. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure we get over the line. I hope we do. And let's see what happens here. Sorry, Chris, I think it was you.
No, yeah, I was just saying, I agree with you. Like on paper, we should win, but I got burnt badly, and the win was the Rainbow Cup when we went there, and I had my South African hat on. The caps were like 27, and we got nailed. So I'm very hesitant, even with our best teams. I worry about our mindsets when we go over there, and they are definitely going to be up for it, no matter what team they're putting up there. I agree with you. Leinster going to win. That's a 3-point win to Leinster. But maybe we get lucky. I don't know. All
right. So, so glad someone agrees with me for once. Goodness, it's so nice. It's so nice not having
to back you up there, man.
So yeah, I want to move on to, for me, and as a Lions supporter, move on to what I think is going to be a crucial.
Oh, what! I changed my mind. What, Lions? No. I'm joking.
We've got a Lions versus Benetton game. Both teams have played 15 games. The Lions with 7 wins, Benetton with 8. There's really not too much in it between them on paper, necessarily. I think that most people are probably leaning the way at Benetton, and I mean, I'm almost obviously not too surprised by that. The Lions have not been setting the world alight, and I really like their team on paper. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I just don't back them right now. Rion,
there's a stat that the team that gives us up the most post-contact meters in the ERC is the Lions. They give up 4 meters per tackle that they make, which is suicide.
Yeah.
Well, every time they hit, they fall down and let the guy run over them. That's been the issue. It hasn't been fixed. And Benetton, as far as I know, they are not resting their Italy players. Most of them are straight back in for this week. So it's going to be a long game for the Lions, I think. If it was at Ellis Park, we might talk, but Benetton in Treviso with most of their good players back, I think it's a Benetton easy one, that one.
Yeah, and a pity about that, to be very honest. I wish I could say better things for the Lions right now, and hopefully we come back next week and we have better things to say. So to run through some of the other fixtures, which I'm not really too excited about, we've got Zebra versus Cardiff, which is a bottom of the table scrap at the moment, and well, sorry, not Cardiff are not sitting 10th. Let me take that back. But to read you some stats here, Zebra have played 15 games, 0 wins, with a points difference of minus 306.
Shame.
And that's, to me, that's just ridiculous numbers, and that's something we can't be putting up. And we had this chat already about Italy in the Six Nations, and yeah, I throw my hands up and I say, point proven, boys. Come at me.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna hold my tongue a little bit. Someone else can say.
Cardiff will win, but they also don't have their players.
No,
So Cardiff will, instead of 100, they'll win by 70. Gotcha.
no. Again, the Zebra and Benetton spent more so definitely than Zebra. Are playing a lot better, but it's I've been in my punting circles. A lot of people punt the Italian sides. I can't do it. I don't give my money to Italian sides. I can't trust them at all, and I don't, and I won't. So I don't even. Another game I don't even watch a lot of their games, even when they're best African teams.
Yeah, lovely. And there's obviously no reason for it. Wes, I'd like to chat to you a little bit about this. You have a bit of experience up in the UK, and maybe you have some mates who might have talked to you over the years about it. We've got an Ospreys versus Dragons game, which is truly a bottom feeder game. Ospreys and Dragons are both sitting in the bottom 4 of the competition with, I think, 4 and 3 wins between them. And unfortunately, if I look at the table here, we've got in 13th, 14th, 15th place, 3 Welsh sides, and barring Cardiff, who are in 10th, all doing really poorly. And it's indicative of Wales rugby at the moment in general. But, geez, I mean, what's honestly, if you had access to it during Botswana right now, so you probably don't, but would you watch this game?
Yeah, I mean, that probably says it all, doesn't it? Yeah, so I think it's really sad that that's the case, and that, as you said, that is really a shame about the Welsh sides being in the bottom, so that many. But it needs to get fixed, because the Welsh are such a pride people. I've been fortunate enough to spend some time there, and you just go into these villages and they eat, sleep, breathe rugby, and it's just part of who they are, culture, this, that, the next. So it's a real shame and a disservice to the nation that it's in the state it is at the moment. And so again, the club sides need to start getting, we can speak about funding and better, and I think that's what's happening at the moment. The talks with the Welsh Union and everything. So hopefully that gets up, and then I'll start watching those games. But it's just hopefully for them and their well-being and the nation's well-being. We speak about. I mean, we know it. We know when the Boks lose or play poorly or whatever, it's like the week is ruined. The weekend's stuffed. The week is ruined until we rectify it. And it's the same for these Oaks. And so hopefully they can get that sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a pity. I believe Rion and Chris have we've said our part on this previously, and so one thing I will say is I think that there's maybe some talks over the coming years about a reduction in unions, which I believe somebody raised in previous weeks for them. I think perhaps they need to reduce the number of teams that they have competing at this level and just merge together. But something to consider. For the future.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't have to.
I agree, and I'm sure they said there's going to be civil war if that happens. I'm sure they're going to have fallouts there.
Yeah. Look, it's on practically speaking, sure. In reality, perhaps maybe not. We've got a Connacht versus Edinburgh game. I think Connacht probably take this, in my opinion, pretty comfortably. I don't know. Are we expecting any upsets there?
Nope, Connacht should take that one easily. Edinburgh have let me down. I thought they would be much better this year than they've been. They've really let me down. I think Connacht should take that. They didn't lose a bunch of guys. Aki and Hansen will probably not play, but the rest of their first choice guys should be there. And I see they signed Cordero today as well, so another little fast winger there. Don't know how long before he's playing for Ireland as well. Should be an easy one for Connacht at the dog track.
Lovely. And we've got a further game. We've got the Glasgow Warriors and Munster both sitting 4 and 5 at the moment. Barely anything in between them. I think that's probably another game to watch for the weekend, barring the Stormers Leinster game. Chris, what are we saying there? I'm sure. I don't know if you have the odds on you, but I'm sure there can't be much in it.
No, that's when you got a little bit wrong. The bookies are favouring Munster quite a bit. 12
They should
points.
take it
Yeah.
easily.
Munster's for home form. As a better, it's a trend I've done. So had some success. Munster at home are solid. They put in 30, 40 points most games against any opposition.
Name on his back.
Yeah. And like Edinburgh, like Connacht as well, home team solid. Edinburgh, Glasgow, these teams are very good at home to back, but away from home they could be anything. So it's a solid form line to back Munster. And I think Munster at home. I have actually called. I think that it'll be a closer game, but Munster will win between 7 and 10.
All right, well there we go. Perhaps an interesting one to watch there. So that's the weekend's URC games in a nutshell, and obviously the pick of them being the Stormers game. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Sharks, who let me just see here. Who I think I've missed.
They're playing the Scarlets
away. Scarlets. So that should be in theory a decent win for them. Although they've raised some surprises of late. So let me just bite my tongue a little bit.
Okay.
But
I think Sharks at full strength, and before COVID, when they were winning Super 8, Sharks at full strength are actually a top 4 side, could compete. But as soon as they're not the top, they don't have the top players, they disappear into they just go. It's weird. So it just depends what team they put out, really.
I don't know. You say that. I've seen the Sharks tie kind of chuck it with the biggest names that they have, and I think I'm not saying that that's going to happen this time, but I've seen it happen before.
I bet Sharks are difficult to understand these guys. No, they're tough. I mean, remember was it Cardiff that absolutely trounced them at Kings Park, and then they went and and then they went and had a really good win. I can't remember who it was. They beat a massive 3 weeks later. So they just, who knows.
All right, so Wes, let me get your thoughts on this. I don't know if you might have seen the news, because obviously you're quite far away there. But the big news coming out is that Vincent Koch has been picked up by the Sharks, which is a huge boon for South African rugby. What a pickup! And it's been a bit of a weird reaction, because teams like the Stormers, the Sharks, and the Bulls have picked up a number of international players of extreme quality, lured them back to South Africa, or alternatively kept them here, which has not been the going trend for a long time. Koch is still a massive name. He's still in the absolute prime of his career, and so that's a huge pickup. The Sharks, perhaps arguably, not arguably, actually, they haven't put out the results expected of a team that's been so heavily invested in. One, what's your reaction to Koch as a pickup? And two, why is it that South Africans are not quite so excited about the fact that we're actually able to retain our talent? It seems to have actually made us, in a sense, not worse, but it seems to be a bit like we can't seem to get all these superstars together in one team anymore.
Yeah, so let's start with the first thing. My reaction to that news is one of joy, because I really don't like it. I get it and I respect it, and totally understandable when Oaks go overseas, because at the end of the day, money talks, and they've got to provide for themselves and families. And
you did it yourself.
There we go. Unfortunately, was it? Look, I mean, and maybe there it was because it was just so saturated here. But absolutely, no, fair enough. But if we can get our boys back to be playing for our local sides, sort of the South African sides, I don't know, that just fills some part of me, like some South African pride part, and it's just fantastic to see them here. I think it also helps, I don't know, if we're all playing the same, not style of rugby, because obviously all the South African teams will have different styles, but it's still South African rugby. And then for me, that just creates a greater cohesion when we get into the box, as opposed to potentially us being spread out all over the place and playing all these different styles. Now we can maybe use some of that, but I don't know. I really like it when we've got sort of our boys back at home, and we've got these, just players, as you said, in the prime of their careers, and playing for local sides. In terms of the reaction, I'm not sure. I don't know why that seems to be the way it is. It's kind of a weird one, actually.
Yeah, I think it's kind of strange. My reaction has been, I look at the side and I go, holy hell, like what? I mean, what is going on at the Sharks? And the Bulls have similar sort of reaction. I think the Stormers perhaps are doing better business locally as well as picking up internationally. But between the Bulls and the Sharks, I'm like, one, fantastic for them. They've got all this money coming in and they're using it to pick up big names. I hope that it doesn't come at the cost of grassroots level development, one. And two, I hope that they're able to actually use these big names. I feel like they're so used to playing without.
It sounds like an awesome idea, but definitely not a one-off. Do it like a 3-game series, like a Lions tour or something, where you've got this all-star team and you've got the 3 games and you make it a bit interesting, or even 2 if you want to do that. But it would be fantastic. I don't know where you slot it in. You know, you said, is it end of season? Is it every end of second season? Or do you do it like a Lions tour every 4 years or something? But yes, it would be phenomenal to see some of the Southern boys mixing together, the Northern boys mixing together, and going head to head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So, guys, we've unfortunately been going for just over an hour and a half, and we thank everyone who's been with us for the entire duration. Wes, we would like to thank you for hopping on the show and giving us a little bit of insight into American rugby, and I would love to have you back sometime and just really get deeper into it, because we've only really scratched the surface about what we want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rion, Chris, thank you again for your time. Oh, sorry, I actually forgot to cover a segment here. My apologies.
Yeah.
Before we finish off here, Chris, as usual. Chris, would you run us through some of the big talking points on odds for the weekend?
As I was saying, unfortunately, when we go live, a lot of odds aren't published yet. You get some for Friday games, but not many for Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of rugby. So I definitely would be able to propose more bets than I would have, that I'm doing now. But I have dug out another treble for you guys for the weekend. Starting tomorrow, Waratahs versus Chiefs. The line points are at 52.5, which I think is quite low, in my opinion. I would have capped it at 56. So again, for the guys who are punting a bit of money on games, what you need to do is, if you need to cap yourself, be a capper as well. So you need to take on the bookie. So the bookie says it's 52, and you say you think it's going to be 56. Then you thinking that the bookies are 4 points short, and your bet will be over 52. So that's how you try play the bookies. So for me, 46 is a low mark. It's 10 points less than what I think the game's going to go, quite confidently. So that'll be a leg. Then I've also got the Griquas. Like I said, the handicap is 10. It's moved down to 8. So the money is coming for Griquas. And I think Griquas keep this within 10 points. So the line points is at 10 for even money, or a little bit less than even for bookies take it or stake. But I'm taking more points for Griquas to 17.5 as another leg. So it's plus 17.5 Griquas points, with Waratahs and Chiefs over 46. And then to end off the treble, Highlanders at home against the Drua. I just think Highlanders, yes, have been poor, but I don't think they did all right. They did the job all right against Force last week. I don't see the Drua rocking up there and winning. I think the Highlanders have improved enough. I just think these Fijian teams, it's great to watch and great to see. I just don't think they're still really good enough to come to New Zealand teams and win. So I think Highlanders should win that by 10 more. And that treble will give us a 2.53 treble. As I said to you guys and the guys on the chat, if you are following, obviously tail if you wish, follow these, but obviously it's also to guide you. I don't want to give bets just for the sake of it. So if I feel strongly, I'll give them. So I'm very, very confident that this treble is another nice runner. We got the treble last week at 2.7 or 2.6. So this is a similar one. So let's hope this brings it home. And I think just in terms of betting, so we talk about stake. It's also important how much you bet. We talk about stake units, and one stake can be R1 to somebody, or 100 or 1,000, whatever it is how much money you have to throw or to bet. You got to expect to lose, right? You bet responsibly. Like, don't bet more than you can afford. But at the moment, it's a 1 unit stake. So if your unit's 10 Rand, put a 10 Rand on it. If it's 100, put 100 on it. And as we go through.
Guys, thank you very much, Chris. We always appreciate your expertise on that forum. And yeah, guys, if you're interested, follow Chris along. Like he said, for weeks coming, we will be keeping a record and putting up a little table as well, just to make it easier for you guys to follow. So you don't have to keep listening to it. You can actually just pause and see what bets that Chris has put up for the week. And so hop into Bet.coza, and thank you to Bet.coza as well for the sponsorship. Boys, as I said, a very long one today. Thank you to everyone who's listening on whatever forum. We're very happy to announce that we will be adding every single Fan Forum show in podcast format to all the major platforms, especially like Spotify and so on. Yeah, we've fantastic, guys. Thank you very much. And Rian, Chris, we will see you again next week. We will be joined again by Stevie P. Unfortunately, no jokes. We love Stevie P, and we're very excited to see him back. He's taking a well-deserved rest in the Kruger. And Wes, again, thank you very much for your time. We will see you again as well. Until next time, gents, have a great weekend.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's guide on how you can watch Scarlets take on the Sharks this weekend over in Wales. The URC is back and you can watch 3 out of 4 South African matches on a free broadcaster throughout the weekend if you're either in the UK or Ireland or if through a use of a VPN. Now, the question is, what is the VPN? VPN is a virtual private network, and basically what that'll do is it'll geolocate your device to make it seem as if you're in another geographic location or country. And the reason that we can do that is that then gives us access to free broadcasters from all over the world. Now, this specific game, Scarlets versus Sharks, is being shown on a free broadcaster or free channel called S4C, which has a web player. It is free to register. You don't have to give your credit card details or anything like that. It takes 2 seconds, and you'll be able to watch all the action between the Scarlets and the Sharks for free on Saturday night. So first things first, you're going to download ExpressVPN. We've got a guide in the description, step by step, and exactly all the things you need and what you need to do. You install ExpressVPN. As you can see, this is what it looks like. And you're going to go to those 2 dots on the right-hand side, and you're going to go and click the UK or any United Kingdom server, and you're going to turn that on. And with that turned on, you can then go to S4C, which is a Welsh language channel. And as long as you've got it turned on, you can then press play, and it'll start working. It's going to take a bit of a while, yeah, because the internet is a bit slow at the moment. But basically, if we didn't connect to the United Kingdom server, you would not be able to watch this as it is geographically located. So we're just going to refresh the page. Sometimes you might have to use a different browser. Sometimes you might have to refresh the page a couple of times. But as long as you're connected to that, there we go. As long as you're connected to the server, it will start working. All the action will be live on Saturday evening. And it is as simple as that. So there's really no excuse not to watch any of the action. You can watch Stormers versus Leinster on TG4, as well as Bulls versus Arsenal on RTE2. These are all free channels. You use ExpressVPN. You've got guys on the channel. You can also use ExpressVPN to watch every single match of the World Cup for free as well. So get yourself ExpressVPN, get yourself ready, and enjoy the action this weekend. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Scarlets versus Sharks preview, and a pretty important game for the Sharks. And I think that, judging by the strength of their squad, kind of really demonstrating just how important this game is. Sia Khaleesi captaining the side, which is just stacked, absolutely stacked, and against the Scarlets side, who I think in theory, you kind of hope they don't have an answer for such a stacked Sharks side, but the Sharks side has just had a habit of not being able to perform when they needed to, and right now it really needs to. And people are saying it's a side that can't form without their Springboks. So also, I suppose, there's a bit of onus on the Springboks to be able to come back and prove that it will perform with their Springboks and that, they are the difference. But yeah, before we look at the two teams, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We'll be going to be live for all 4 URC games this weekend, as well as Sharks versus Western Province Currie Cup on Sunday. So much rugby being covered on the channel the next couple of days. Should be really exciting. If you look at the two teams, we'll start with the Scarlets, shall we? And it's not the strongest Scarlets side. if we're being brutally honest. But there's a couple of nice players in there. Like Gareth Davies, who I thought, when he's versus Munster a couple of weeks ago was absolutely terrific. But let's go sort of 1 through to 15, shall we? In the front row, we've got Kemsey Mateus, Sean Evans, and Javin Sebastian. Via Fafita, for me, he's been a really good signing. And he's a world-class player, isn't he? He's playing international rugby. He's just a massive unit, but also pretty depth with his skill set, actually, when he gets going. He's next to Sam Lassie. Then you've got Josh McLeod, captain of the side, next to Dan Davis and Sione Talamafoni in that loose chair. It's a good pack, and I think the pack is something where the Sharks have really struggled now, and you really need to see the Sharks pack start to dominate, come out and make a difference. Because I think that lately they've been outplayed, and that kind of put a lot of pressure on the back line, because when your pack's going backwards, when you can't find any ascendancy from set pieces, from scrums, within your pack, you're always going to struggle with the back line. Now, Gareth Davies is an absolute class operator. So many international games for him. He's got so much experience, and he can make things happen. You've also got Kieran Hardy coming off the bench. So, really nice, good depth there at scrum half. He's next to Sam Costello, who needs to put in a good performance as well, to get this team really going. Ryan Conbeer, Steve Evans, the two wings. And you've got Tom Rogers at fullback, Johnny Williams and Joe Roberts in the centres. Off the bench, Taylor Davies, Steph Thomas, Sam Wainwright, Morgan Jones, Aaron Shingler, Kieran Hardy, Dan Jones, and Nicholas. You then look at the Shark side. And as I said, the Shark side are not taking any chances, because this is how they are lining up this weekend. As I said, Sia Khaleesi captaining the side, Oxenchair, Bongi Manami, Thomas Latoy. How's that for a front row? All Springbok front row is in there. Ian Etzebeth next to Emil van Heerden, Vincent Tuka, Sia Khaleesi, Pepsi Buthelezi. That loose chair physically can't get any better, I don't think. Jaden Henderson to the starting lineup next to Curran Bosch. It's just Springboks littered amongst this 15. Marcus Willem-Pimpy back in the side, Werner Cock at 14, Buddha Chamber at 15, Rowan Janssen Rensburg next to Lecanio, the GOAT. It's a Sharks team picked to doesn't matter what Scarlets pull out, they will be better. And even if you look at this bench of Kieran van Vuuren, Intuko Nsunu, Carlos Salia, Brian Krobler, Seeker Bosninoche, Grant Williams, Ben Tapawai, Thacker Abrahams. This team's pretty close to a team again. I think I said in my Bulls preview, if they were to play in a final tomorrow, it's probably kind of the team they go with. So they have gone absolute full strength, because they can't afford to lose. They have had a couple of bad weeks. They have found themselves in a bit of a tricky situation where a couple of bad weeks could actually have them out the top 8. And I imagine a disaster when a team like the Sharks has spent all that money, brought in all these players, all that investment, are not playing Champions Cup rugby. It's not an option for them. It really isn't. And yet, sitting 7th on the table, Benetton playing against a Lions side, which they could probably beat as well, 3 points behind them. Cardiff, is a bit further back, but Connacht and Benetton right on their heels of the likes of the Sharks and even the Bulls. So they can't afford to slip up. And it's a team that's basically put out that can't slip up, but any team can be beaten on the day. It's a phenomenal team. It really is. It's a team that would not look out of place in the Champions Cup final, but the performances have yet to really match the players and the caliber of personnel occupying the jerseys. And hopefully this weekend, maybe for them, they can kind of flick a switch. Hopefully the break between the Springboks and and having sort of less rugby in the last couple of weeks is really sort of going to rejuvenate, reinvigorate some of these players and the team itself. But we really need to see something this weekend, don't we? Let me know what your predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen. I'll chat to you soon.
Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. You are joining me for this URC clash, Scarlets versus the Sharks. We're playing in the Scarlets Stadium, of course. You are live with me now, and I hope you guys enjoyed the build-up package prior to this match getting going. This is a properly stacked Sharks team that are coming to play today, and yeah, it's going to be quite. I reckon this is going to be quite a challenge for the Scarlets to try and face. Of course, stacked full of Springboks, the Shark siders, and those who aren't even Springboks are also very, very good in their own right. And we're just meeting here to do some sort of presentation. I don't know if it's a moment of silence or something. I think it's a moment of silence for somebody or other. They did one earlier in the Lions game, and I think they did one in Connacht as well. So. Yeah, we'll be doing that quickly. And yeah, everyone who's joining us, please do let me know where you guys are watching from. And who do you think is going to win today's clash? I'm actually going to go and quickly create a poll. Who will win this clash? And, oh, man, I've got to create a poll first before I ask the same question. Who will win this clash? And, yeah, we've got the Sharks, obviously, being the favorites here tonight. And then the Scarlets are the opposition, of course. So, yeah, be sure to go and participate in the poll. Let me know your thoughts. And also in the comments, tell me what you think is going to happen during today's match. Yeah, it's going to be quite ugly, I think, possibly for the Scarlets. But it's not like they've got a bad team, this Welsh side. I'm sure they will find it within themselves to create this a very competitive match for us today. And I just want to get a live stats thing here with me so I can just talk it through as well. But they're currently doing a minute of applause for somebody. There's a few Sharks fans in the crowd here. Good to see them come out. And we will get the game going very, very soon, I'm sure. Yeah, we are almost ready to go. And just to go through this Sharks team that has been put here, I mean, just some of the names that we are seeing in this Sharks side: Oxenchair, Bongim Bonambi, Thomas the Tank Dutoy, Eben Etzebeth, Khaleesi, Vincent Chatuka, Pepsi Buthelezi, Jaden Hendrickser, Bosch, Mapimpi. It's ridiculous. Nonetheless, we have kickoff. And we are underway. Sia Khaleesi collects the ball and just taken out just inside his 22-meter line. Oh, the kick is shocking. This box kick there from Jaden Hendricks has gone straight out. Yeah, Jaden Hendricks are there. Not starting particularly well in this game. Just had a very, very bad kick there from that from the ruck there, box kick there. So it's pretty much an early opportunity for the Scarlets to try and pile a little bit of pressure onto the Sharks. They've got a line out just outside the Sharks' 22. LB there saying, but how lucky were the Lions? That's a poor Benetton side they scraped by. I mean, it's not actually that bad a side at all. It's quite full of names these days. So well done to the Lions for winning that. At least they did go and win with maximum points. So they did get the result in the end that they wanted. And it's turned over here by the Sharks. And Lukhanyo Am passes to Mapimpi. He passes out wide. So now that's to Lukhanyo Am. And now it comes to Werner Koch, who bounces off one and then bounces into the next. Such a hard runner, Werner Koch. But it does get taken down. Jaden Henderson now passes to Bongi Bonambi, who rushes into the tackle. And Oxenchair covers up here. And Hendricks now waiting for the kick. I think he will give it to Bosch. Or otherwise will form a box kick of his own. This is attempt 2 for the box kick. And that'll be a penalty to the Sharks. Scarlets offsides at that ruck there. They thought the ball was out of place. They tried to go through, but certainly not allowed to. So yeah, Sharks with a penalty here. Kieran Bosch going to be kicking for the line. Hopefully take them up to about the halfway line. Yeah, that's just in front of the halfway line. Still inside the Sharks half, but a decent enough kick for the Sharks to try and build something from. And yeah. And if you guys watched the games earlier today as well, you know, there was Connacht versus Edinburgh just played now, just finished. Connacht beat Edinburgh, which is, of course, big news. Quite thumping, like they thumped Edinburgh. And then, obviously, Lions, they beat Connacht. And here, Scarlets have just stolen the line out from the Sharks. So now they've got the ball in possession. And there's some big hits being put in already. Just only 3 minutes into this game, we're already seeing some really, really large hits. And Connacht recycle, and they do kick it forward into the Sharks half. It's going to be just outside the 22. It's a great kick, but it's well covered there. It's now passed into Werner Koch, who decides to kick just outside his 22. He kicks into space, and it's the Scarlets number 8 is going to have to recollect, and he's kicking himself. My word, that's I don't know why. He thought he was clearly going to go and be the hero of the day, and he decided to go and kick the ball as number 8 just in front of his 22 to go straight out. So that's going to be a line out to the Sharks right in front of the Scarlets 22. So a shocking decision there. And yeah, you could see why he plays number 8 and he's not in the back line there. So Sharks looking to probably form a maul here, probably maul it all the way over from this part of the field here. And they do set it up, but they don't. They go straight out. Scarlets passes it in, and they play the backline move. It comes to Lukhanyo who's charging forward quite quickly. They're into the 22 now, the Sharks. Comes to Bongi Bonambi, who gets taken down. Jaden Hendrickson now with the ball. Passes out to Ibn Etzebeth, who charges up. He tries to pass to Vincent Chatuka, but unfortunately, Ibn Etzebeth didn't see the fact that Chatuka was not waiting for that pass, and a knock-on is the result, and there will be a scrum now. First scrum of the game inside the Scarlets 22. Vincent Chatuka was not ready for that ball to come to him. He was going to go in and assist him. Ibn Etzebeth wants to offload, and yeah, unfortunately, Sharks preliminary had an early end to their attack there in that 22. Nonetheless, we'll get to have our first scrum, and what a scrum this is going to be. The Shark side has got an all Springbok front row, and it's got a Springbok lock, and it's got a Springbok loose forward. And I mean, the Shark side is just way too stacked. So this will be quite difficult for the Scarlets to try and withhold. And the scrum does go in, and the Sharks are motoring forward, but they do manage to bring it out quickly. And now here come the Scarlets. They've got a bit of numbers. They've got it after the wing. He's got space. He's being chased down by Kerwin Bosch. He's having to pass infield to his scrum half. Kerwin Bosch manages to get there, comes back to the wing. It's almost there. That's right on the line. And as 5 meters in, Mapimpi manages to get the intercept and tries to go away himself. So Sharks hang on right at the end, right on their try line. All the Scarlets managed to get so close, but unable to convert right at the end there. And the ball has illegally come out, apparently illegally come out, says the ref. I think it wasn't not rolling away. So it will be a penalty to the Sharks. And yeah, they got out of jail there because, my word, that was almost the Scarlets' early points there. And Scarlets fans very appreciative of their efforts there, but they were unable to convert. So still remains 0-0. And yeah, Kerwin Bosch now with the ball in hand will be kicking for the line, and he does kick for the line, and it's a good kick. Yeah, it's a good kick. It's almost up to the halfway line from the 5. So a good kick there from Kerwin Bosch. We just see this replay here of the Scarlets breaking away out of that scrum. Did very well just to pass it through their hands to the wing there, and great interplay between the wing and the scrum half, just passing it back and forth between them to try and avoid tackles, and eventually the ball was chucked back, hopeful of a red player arriving, but it landed into Mapimpi's hands. Sharks now, after this line-out, set up the maul. The maul has stopped, so it's going to be need to be used. And Jaden Hendrickson pops around the outside. He's got Mapimpi supporting him, but he tries to grab it through, and it comes off the Scarlets player, goes out. So it will be another Sharks line-out just a little bit further ahead, inside the Scarlets half on the 10-meter line. So a nice little bit of ingenuity there by Jaden Hendrickson. He saw a little gap, tried it, didn't quite work, but they certainly still made some ground there. The Sharks have put it in quickly already, and Jaden Hendrickson has passed it out to the midfield. And Scarlets charging up the middle, unable to get too far forward though. Jaden Hendrickson with the ball now, passes to Ibn Etzebeth, who gets taken down. Jaden Hendrickson again, pass to Kerwin Bosch. Quick hands, comes to Rohan Janse van Rensburg. Likely going to see him in a Springboks jersey this year, Rohan. Scarlets now trying to gather it up again. He gets taken down as well. Sharks just on the 10-meter line inside the Scarlets half here. Jaden Hendrickson passes out to Ibn Etzebeth, tries to go through. Spots the gap, not able to get too far though. Jaden Hendrickson passes off to Kerwin Bosch, gives it to Lukhanyo who passes it out to Mapimpi, who knocks it on, and they're going to have to try and recycle this, the Sharks, but yeah, not able to, and it will be a Scarlet scrum just about halfway in the middle of the field just, so not the best piece of interplay there from Mapimpi there. Should have caught that. There's no reason why he shouldn't have, and yeah, we will have a second scrum of the game. The first scrum, Sharks were very dominant, but Scarlets did manage to get the ball out and almost score a try as a result. So we'll see what happens now. So we're just approaching the 10-minute mark, and yeah, it's actually very even so far. I mean, the Sharks have had enjoyed the possession, And they're likely to go on to win this game quite comfortably. But the Scarlets are starting quite well. But again, big scrum from the Sharks. But Scarlets get it out very quickly. They're knowing that that scrum is going to be dangerous. And Werner Koch's been left out of position. And now here come the Scarlets on the wing. They've got a bit of space. And eventually gets taken down by Lukanya just on the 22-meter line. Doing very well, the Scarlets here. Lukanya is unable to roll away quick enough. So there's an advantage to the Scarlets. And they're coming forward. And they've got some gaps here. And it passes through. They're doing some very, very good play. But broken play. And my word, they're going to go through here. Comes the lock. He passes infield to his winger. And Scarlets get the first try of the game. Great, great play from the Scarlets team. And the Sharks are left gobsmacked at the fact that they allowed a team like this to go and score against them. Not that the Scarlets are a particularly bad team, but nonetheless, you think of how many Springboks and top players are in the Sharks side. The Scarlets fans are as chuffed as anything with that. Was a really, really well-worked try. And 5-0 already for the Scarlets. Scarlets with the first blood of the game. All starts where Werner Koch was just found himself a little bit out of position. And then Lukanya eventually makes the tackle, but unfortunately unable to roll away. The advantage comes as a result. And then the attempt to tackle didn't get the ball. And so they were able to pass in the tackle. And that's what created the space. They passed it out wide. There was a little bit of numbers. And passed it infield. Try is scored and converted. It is now 7 points to the Scarlets, 0 to the Sharks. So about to get the restart going here, just on the 10-minute mark. Sharks going to kick it back in through Curran Bosch, kicking from left to right. And the Sharks will need to now wake up, of course, find themselves behind already. And they will not enjoy that. And it's kicked there by Davies of the Scarlets. And it's fielded now by Pepsi Buthelezi on the halfway line. Manages to get the ball, but it's going to be turned over just as quickly by the Scarlets. Brilliant work there by the lock. I think it's the lock. Great effort there from Davis. Great over take there. Pepsi Buthelezi went down and went over and was not moving Davis. And wins the penalty for the Scarlets. He's got a little bit of an injury from that. Not too serious, I'm sure. But he will just need a little bit of attention for continuing on with this game. And they've attempted to kick it out on the line. And it didn't go out, but it was knocked on. Apparently. So, it will be a scrum in the Scarlets' favour inside the Sharks 22. So early chances here for the Scarlets to put themselves ahead even further and really cause problems for the Sharks. And we saw this earlier from the Lions as well. Not able to wake up very early into this game, and only later on in the second half did they suddenly decide that they were going to start playing some proper rugby. And let's hope it's not the same situation for the Sharks. But right now they do find themselves 7 points down. And now having to fend off an attacking scrum for the Scarlets inside the Sharks 22. Scarlets players already got a couple of injuries though. So not looking like they're going to last very long at this point in time. It's only 10 minutes into this game. There's 2 people down and they're feeling it out. Devecha saying if the Sharks don't win this game, there's going to be a lot of questions about their consistency and ability to win key matches. Of course, the Sharks are real problem recently this year, and not even just this year, but in general, as a matter of fact, they've had 2 coaching changes. They brought in a new coach and sacked him, and then got back their old coach. It's just they're all over the place. They don't quite know what they're doing at the moment. The Sharks. Lots of money being pumped into the club. Lots of Springboks obviously there. But, a similar situation to what you might call Tottenham Hotspurs, where Antonio Conte came out and said this is a team full of individuals. And I think the Sharks might also find themselves in a very similar sort of situation where you've got a team that's full of a lot of big stars, not necessarily playing very well as a team. Renry Plays says, can't wait for Plumtree. Yeah, I mean, Plumtree's coming back to the Sharks, and we'll see how he can get the side cooking. Of course, a lot of these players are going to be leaving the Sharks side soon because they're all Springboks. They're going to be starting the internationals in about 2 months' time. So they've got a few games left, and but some of them might not even make that, of course, because there's rules with our rugby for resting for those Springbok players. They can't play all the games so that they are well rested for the international series that takes place in the middle of the year. So Sharks are going to need to make sure they utilize their Springboks whilst they do have them. The scrum is going to be reset here once we're eventually away here. The Sharks were pushing forward a bit too much, apparently. So again, very big opportunity here for the Scarlets to try and get some more points on the board. And this ball goes in, but the Sharks are scrumming very well. But I think it's advantage to the Scarlets. And the Scarlets are almost focused straight through. They found a gap there. They're right on the 5-meter line. They passed it through to the big number 8 of Calamafoni. And he passes it out to the props of Sebastian. And it's an advantage to the Scarlets still. Comes through the back line and it's intercepted. And they will come back for the penalty. Penalty against the Sharks there. I think it was for offsides. Confirming it, yes, offsides indeed. So, lots of work for the Sharks still to do defensively here to try and keep the Scarlets from scoring yet another try. And they're opting for points here. So they're taking the clever decision, just taking it a little bit further away from the Sharks. They're not going to get into this sort of areas too often, you'd imagine, during the game. So whilst they are there, take their points as many times as possible to build up that lead. And then the Sharks start to get nervous. So they will go for posts here. And let's see if the kick will be successful for the Scarlets. Just Costello with the kick. Ooh. He's got it straight over, and it's 10 points to 0. So, Scarlets are leading the Sharks 10 points already, and I don't think this is something that was expected as of yet. So, Sharks are going to need to wake up, essentially. Let me know your thoughts, people, in the comments. Be sure to like the video as well and subscribe and turn on notifications if you guys haven't already, so that you guys get notified about all of our rugby news and all other sporting news as well, should it be interesting to you. Kerwin Bosch gets the game restarted here. It's a very short line-out, and it almost worked. It was chucked back by Eben Etzebeth, a short restart, I meant. And but unfortunately, he chucked it back straight to one of the Scarlets players. So now Scarlets are running forward. Oh, it's a huge high tackle. That's going to be a yellow card. That's surely that's a horrible tackle there from Thomas the Tank Toy. And I'm surprised this is not going to go any further. This is just a penalty for now. But I mean, it didn't look a good tackle at all. Went and grabbed Costello as he was going past. It was a really, really poor attempt at the tackle. And the Scarlets have gone for the line here. And it's gone well inside the Sharks' half. And the line-out's taken. It's very, very skewed, but they're going to continue playing, apparently, says the ref. Scarlet's got the ball still in hand, and they're passing it through now just inside the Sharks' half, past their 10-meter line. Renry here saying being a Sharks supporter currently feels like being a Springbok supporter in 2016, 2017. Yeah, he's not wrong at all. Yeah, there are a lot of problems with the Sharks right now. A lot of big names and not necessarily getting the results they should. And Scarlets are coming forward here, and still almost on the 22 there. Sharks not really defending all that well at the moment. Lots of gaps in that team there. And Thomas du Toit does brilliantly there to go and to turn over the ball from that ruck and get Sharks a penalty in their favour to try and kickstart a little bit more possession for the Sharks. They're really struggling so far, 16 minutes into this game, to make an impact. So, yeah, hopefully this will spark them into a bit more life with Thomas du Toit's turnover here. But Sharks not looking happy with life right now. Bosch with the ball in hand now, kicking for the line. See how far up the field he gets. Might stay infield. It does stay infield. It doesn't go out. So Sharks' woes continue. Scarlets kick it right back into the Sharks half. Bosch receives it just in front of his 22. And now he's going to run up. And the up and under gets put in. And the chase is now being made. Oh, it's a great chase. And he's taken it and he's popped it back to Pepsi Buthelezi, who finds Lukanya who finds Xia Khaleesi, who finds Mapimpi, who tries to grab it forward. But he's only able to grab it straight into touch. So it will be a line out to the Scarlets just inside their 22-meter line. But the Sharks almost coming through there. Great little take there in the midfield from that up and under. Great spark of energy there as well afterwards. Scarlets take the line out quickly. They set up a maul. And they're trying to bring it back around. And they do bring it back around. The maul is still motoring forward. But they do go down by themselves. So the ruck is now set up. And they pass it to the forwards again, who try to drive it up. Vincent Chichuka with the tackle. And now they're going to set up for the box kick. And the box kick's made, not able to charge down. It's not out. It is out. It's a great kick. It's a really, really good kick. It's just gone out past the halfway line. So very, very good exit there for the Scarlets. They'll be chuffed with that. And 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes into this game. And the Scarlets really are the ones on the front foot. And certainly leading this game deservedly. Sharks needing to seriously wake up. Bongi Monambi makes his way over to the touchline there to get the ball. And put the ball in for this line out. Just on the halfway line here, pretty much, for the Sharks. Ball goes in. And it's a shocking line out. It's gone straight past the players there. And it's knocked on for the Sharks now. And it'll be another scrum to the Scarlets. The Sharks cannot wake up today. Sharks are all over the place. Poor throw there from Bongi Bunambi. Yeah, it looked like a communication error rather than anything else. Might not be Bongi's fault, but nonetheless, a mistimed line out completely. So Sharks, again, find themselves on the back foot and having to now find themselves in a scrum now in the midfield here. Scarlets obviously are coming under a lot of pressure in these scrums, but they are managing to get the ball out before the penalty can come. So not too much of a problem at the moment. And they have really used their backline very well in attacking the Sharks line. They've made a lot of ground each time. And the ball does come back. And it comes to the number 8. I think it passes back, but it's really well covered by Vincent Chichuka, who makes a great tackle, forcing the Scarlets backwards. So Scarlets are going to have to rethink about their maneuver now. And it gets past infield, and they almost find a gap there. And the ball is out, and Eben Etzebeth tries to go for it, as he always does. He's so intelligent, Eben Etzebeth. Wasn't able to get the ball, but the ball does land. I thought it was going to go the Sharks' way, but it's actually ended up going to the Scarlets. Still, Scarlets managed to recover. And it comes back to Costello, Costello. And, oh my word. Oh my word. It's a huge hit there. That's a huge hit on the Sharks' full back there. And here comes Scarlets again. It's a very deep kick. Chipped in behind. It's actually a very well done kick by Costello. And it's fielded by the Sharks. And it's not out again. So Scarlets are going to be attacking here with full pace, basically. And yeah, they're being brought down now. They're still inside the Sharks half. Sharks have played very little rugby inside the Scarlets half. Scarlets playing very quickly. And they chip it in behind. They try to at least. But it's been charged down. And Oxenchair collects. And now he runs forward. Massive ball carrier, Oxenchair. Does very well. Eben Etzebeth now at the ball. Passes to Rohan Jans van Rensburg, who tries to kick forward, but unable to. Eben Etzebeth collects, but I think he was technically was knocked on, in fact. So Rohan Jans van Rensburg, I thought he tried to do the grabber kick, but he knocked it on, in fact. So Sharks, again, can't get out of their own half and can't stop making mistakes. Mark Sony saying, if the Sharks lose to this crap team, I'll be effing furious. Well, I'm sure you're quite furious right now. But good to have you here, Mark. Where are you watching from? Let me know. Oh my word, just watching that tackle again. Oh, it's huge. Dylan, lol, I'm done with the Sharks. Yeah, I mean, the Sharks are Struggling at the moment, if you're honest. Not doing particularly well, but I don't think you have to get too concerned. They've got the players to turn this game around. And also, it's only 10 points. It's not too many. It's 2 try scores. Well, 2 scores anyway. And there's still a lot of rugby to be played. Past 20 minutes here. So we're past halfway mark in this first half. So let's see what's happening. I don't know, what are we doing here? There's got an injury and back play here. We do have an injury here. So we're just waiting for that to happen. Yeah, time is off. And we'll see what happens afterwards. So we will have a scrum again just inside Sharks half, past their 10-meter line towards their own try line. Scarlets, of course, with the feed. And for all the Sharks have been dominating the scrums, Scarlets have managed to get the ball out every single time. So, yeah, they just need to continue doing this, the Scarlets. They'll be chuffed as anything with the score right now, but they need to pile on the pressure and keep building those points if they want to have any sort of hope of winning this game, because the Sharks will, of course, come back. They've got such a powerful bench, the Sharks as well, having all those major names playing in the starting 15. You've got a lot of really good players as well on the bench as a result. So we're about to get play underway again. Time is on. The scrum is being set up. And the ball has been put in, but the Sharks are dominating forward. But as again, Scarlets managed to get that ball out and passing through the midfield, and it comes to the centres, and they are just finding ground every single time they run. They just seem to find the gaps each time. And it comes back here, and we see we've got a substitution on the field. So I'm intrigued to see that. Number 20 for the Scarlets already on. I think it might be a blood, but oh my word, and broken through the tackle there of Vincent Shatuka, the Scarlets did. And the Scarlets have got so many numbers out wide, but unfortunately they've knocked it on, I believe. But I think we're going to come back for an offsides penalty against the Sharks. So Sharks have been racking up quite a few of these penalties now, so they're going to need to be careful soon. They're getting closer to the danger zone, and Scarlets are going to probably put this over for some more points, one would imagine. Renry here back saying their box haven't had game time for a month or so. It makes sense that there's a lot of rust. Now, of course, there's a lot of time as well for this to be fixed. But, you know, you would expect the team full of Springboks to be a little bit better at the moment. But nonetheless, I'm sure they will find their form again in the coming minutes. And the Scarlets here, I'm sure, will be going for the posts, so they will indeed. And hopefully will put themselves 13 points ahead of the Sharks, who have yet to score in this game, 22 minutes in. So not a great start for the people from Durban. Do it, I think it is. Oh, Debate, sorry, Debate. Debate saying Scarlets have been in good form for the last few weeks, but that shouldn't be a problem considering all the Springbok players the Sharks have. So let's hope the Sharks can secure a win here. Yeah, as I say, for all the Scarlets have been playing relatively well, this is a very, very strong Sharks outfit. And Scarlets do manage to convert those points. So they currently are 13 points to Sharks 0. Still only 2 try scores for the Sharks to get back into the lead. But obviously every single time points are put on the board for Scarlets and the Sharks don't have anything, it's going to pile on more and more pressure and have them doubting their ability to come back into this game. So the restart is taken here by Kerwin Bosch. Again, not too deep, just outside the 22-meter line. And it's well chased by Makazole Mapimpi, who makes the tackle. And Scarlets do, however, recover the ball quite easily. The tackle is made just inside the 22. And the box kick is coming here from Davies. He gets it away. We'll see how far this goes. It's not out. And it's collected here. Pepsi Boots Leslie now running at the line. She spots a gap, and it's a high tackle, very obvious, right in front of the ref. And they'll have to just go for the line now, the Sharks, I'm sure. Very obvious high tackle. Not dangerous, but definitely high. Very easy for the ref to make that decision. So, Sharks will try and have an opportunity to try and attack and get a try. Too many times did I say try in that sentence. But they'll get an opportunity here to put some points on the board. The kick for the line is decent. It's inside the Scarlets 22. So Sharks should look to try and maul this in, probably. They've got a very big pack, which is dominating, of course. So one would assume they're going to set up the maul and it probably will get quite far forward if they just set it up half correctly. Bongi Manambi with the ball in hand, puts it in, and Sharks have got it now. And it comes to the back to Bongi Manambi, but Moore's not moving forward, so they're going to have to take it out straight away. Oh, it's a shocking pass from Jaden Hendrickson. Mapimpi tries to recover, but he gets swamped in the midfield as well. And it's all the way back to the halfway line. And the Scarlets are going to try and get through. And they do get through. Oh, it's an offsides, though. Very poor from the Scarlets. They're poor discipline because they did so well. And then one player there just decides to get up. I think it was McLeod. Yeah, it is McLeod, who unfortunately decided to go for the man after clearing from the ball, which put him in the offsides position. Steve van Deventer, Steve van Deventer, welcome to the Forever Sports Members Club. Very glad to have you join the membership, and I hope you do enjoy it. And for anybody else who's thinking of joining it, be sure to support us and do go and subscribe to that. It really does mean a lot to us. And of course, you get yourself a couple of small perks, of course, with that membership. And yeah, I do hope you enjoy the channel, and thank you very much for supporting. Bongi Manambi now putting the ball in, and it's stolen from the Scarlets. And the Scarlets are now going to kick it forward again, and they do kick it. And it's going to stay infield. Kerwin Bosch, I think it is under this. No, it's Werner Koch, who's running back at pace. He shrugs off one, tries to shrug off another, but not able to, and is swamped. And it's a penalty to the Sharks. Bongi Manambi is taking exception to somebody. And I'm not quite sure why this is a penalty to the Sharks, if I'm honest. Werner Koch went down, should have been a tackle, and I think they weren't released. But then Werner Koch was, pretty much tried to run again. So a bit of a harsh decision on the Scarlets. Nonetheless, probably technically right. And the Sharks will now again go for the line. They've had a couple of visits to the 22, and each time been unsuccessful. This is the, I think, third or fourth. And it's a very good kick, though, right close to the line. And surely they'll try and get this maul working, which has not worked twice now, but surely it has to work better. Bongi Manambi puts the ball in. Eben Etzbeth is underneath it, not up, but now the maul is operating for the Sharks. They're getting a bit more go forward. It's going a bit sideways right now. The Bongi Manambis need to straighten, and the Scarlets take advantage of that, and they've swamped Bongi Manambi now, and they're over the ball, and they can't get this out, the Sharks, and it will be a... Ref allows the Scarlets players to go through and then goes and decides to penalise them in at the side. So, a bit harsh, considering he allowed it to happen and then called them afterwards. So, nonetheless, it probably was the right decision again, because I was wondering why he didn't tell them to go away. They did come in a little bit from the side there. And again, the Sharks opt for the corner on the 5-metre line. And will they try and maul it over yet again? There's been 4 penalties now from the Scarlets in quick succession, all in the 22. So they've got to be very careful here, otherwise they might get a yellow card. The ball goes in from Bongi Manambi, much better throw. And it's a huge charging maul. My word, you're not stopping that. That is a proper maul. And it motored from the get-go. And that's the captain, Sia Khaleesi. Well, not captain for the Sharks, but the captain of the Springboks, Sia Khaleesi, who goes over with the ball in hand, getting another try for in his name. Second career try for the Sharks in the URC. So doing very well there. Sia Khaleesi to get his team over the line and get some points on the boards for the Sharks finally. Now, very easy from the Sharks there. Just too much raw power. And Sia Khaleesi goes over, scoring that try. But the conversion to come here from Kerwin Bosch, not too difficult, so he should be able to get this over. Lines up the kick. And it's beautiful, straight down the middle. And it does very well to make it 7 points. It's 13-7 currently to the Scarlets. And the Sharks have finally got to put some points on the board, of course, now. So Let's see if the Sharks can now utilize that momentum and turn it into some more points. We've got just over 10 minutes left of this half. The Sharks do still find themselves trailing by 6 points. And the restart is just outside the 22. And Van Heerden is lifted up there very high, and he does gather the ball. Jaden Hendrickson now with the ball. He's going to box kick here. Oxenchair just coming to be the cover person there, and does go up. It's up and under. It's being chased very well by Makazole Mapimpi, who makes the tackle, but not able to get to the ball. Scarlets recovering very well, and they do not try to drive it forward here. Sean Farrell here again saying, random players, I would not. Scarlets a crap side. They have their odd moments. As I say, they're not a bad side at all, the Scarlets. Work well as a unit, but I do think the Sharks side surely got too much talent for the Scarlets. The Sharks have recovered it after another up and under from the Scarlets there, and passes to Oxenchair, who runs forward, makes a little bit of ground. Jaden Henderson now probably opting for yet another box kick. I think it will be an up and under. It is an up and under, and there's a big chase again from Makazole Mapimpi. He tries to get there, not able to get there, has to make the tackle, and Scarlets again field this ball just inside their half, just in front of their 10-meter line. And they're now motoring forward through their forwards, and they're getting some good purchase with regards to some meters gained. So doing well there. Now it's just a kicking battle at this point in time, and yet another up and under is going to come in from the Scarlets. This time it's much better timed, and it's going to be very competitive, but Werner Koch gets under it, but gets swamped just as quickly. And Scarlets try to get over this ball, and not able to, and it passes back to Oxenchair, who passes to Vincent Tutuka, who almost found a gap there, not able to. Ibn Etzebeth looked like he was almost from the side there, but no, the Scarlets are penalised for going over the ball illegally, not supporting his body weight. So Sharks with another penalty, and Scarlets continuously giving away penalties now, so Sharks will go for the line yet again. Yeah, you do have to wonder about that decision there. I actually think it's the wrong decision. Ibn Etzebeth comes in from the side, and not only that, but he also the Scarlets player was definitely over that ball for quite some time, and I think that they'd be quite upset that penalty didn't actually go their way. Nonetheless, Scarlets tried to keep the ball from going out, not able to. It's inside the 22, just about 5 meters inside of it, on the near touch line. Bongi Madami's getting instructions from Oxenchair, and the maul previously was ridiculous. Let's see if the Sharks can maul again from here. It goes in from Bongi Madami. It's a loopy one. Van Heerden takes it. Sierklisa takes it straight out, passes to Jaden Henderson, passes to Ibn Etzebeth, who tries to run out the midfield, does get taken out. And Jaden Henderson again tries to find, I think it's Vincent Tutuka, who's making some good ground here. They try to chip it behind, grab it in behind, does Kerwin Bosch, but gets put down there from the Scarlets fullback over his line. So it should be a goal line dropout, in which it is. So Sharks unable to convert points there again inside the 22. There's a goal line dropout now for the Scarlets to try and exit as best they can. So Costello kicks it forward, kicks it quite deep, almost onto the halfway line. Kerwin Bosch passes it infield, and there's a big chase, and Pepsi Buthelezi already caught by the Scarlets players there. Scarlets doing very, very well to get up there quickly in defence. Ibn Etzebeth passes to Kerwin Bosch, tries to pass through, and they're going quickly now. There's a big gap here. Rowan Ernst van Rensburg trying to chase through, misses the tackle, unfortunately. Costello now finds a gap, but he's just as quickly closed. And Mapimpi is now over this ball, but illegally so, and it's a penalty against the Sharks, and the Scarlets will have a penalty on their 10-meter line. So Scarlets again doing very well there to exit. Great defence from them, and turning that defence into attack now. Ball is kicked for the line. It's not a brilliant kick, but certainly going to do the business. It's about 10 meters in front of the 22 for the Sharks, inside the Sharks half. Costello did very well there to evade Ryan Janssen van Rensburg. Yeah. Fortunately, Ibn Etzebeth there, one not running away. Scarlets tried to go for more themselves, and it's going forward at quite a rapid pace. And the Sharks are going to really struggle to stop this at the moment. It's moved forward very, very well. But it has, however, been taken. Oh, the ball is available. They're going to carry on playing. And the Scarlets now passing it through the back line and taking it out in the midfield there. The Sharks are rushing to try and get the defensive line set. There was a little bit offside from Thomas the Turret. And Jaden Hendrickson gets an intercept. And passes back to Eben Etzbeth, who finds Werner Koch. Werner Koch's evading quite well, almost up to the halfway line. Jaden Hendrickson takes it, passes it back. And again, gets this ball is moving quickly. There's a huge gap here for Kerwin Bosch. He's passing it through. He passes it out wide to Mapimpi. Mapimpi's going to make it away. He passes back to Sia Khaleesi. Sia Khaleesi's looking for support. He passes Jaden Hendrickson. Passes to Lucanio who tries to go himself, twisting and turning almost onto the 5-meter line here, the Sharks. And Jaden Hendrickson passes the ball back to Bongi Bonambi, who drives forward himself. Does very well there. Jaden Hendrickson now passes back to Makazole Mapimpi, who tries to drive as well, but not able to. But it's now, I think, a maul set up. And Scarlets are now going to try and turn this ball over. They have not. Thomas Latoya is almost on the try line. He's picked it up from there. And, oh my word, advantage. That's cynical. That might well be a yellow card. The Scarlets there. Oh, and he reaches Mapimpi, but I don't think he was able to get there. But surely there's going to be a yellow card, I think, coming the way of the Scarlets player here. Taking the scrum out. Very cynical, stopping that try. Well, trying to stop the try being scored by taking Jaden Hendrickson out on the line. Don't think I don't think Makazole Mapimpi gets this ball over the line. He does have a lunge in the mid, right off that ruck there. He does have a lunge, but I don't think he makes it. I think there's going to be double movement if he does. They're going to TMO it now, so we'll just chat us through it. And yeah, Sharks finally waking up now and playing some rugby, which is obviously, of course, great to see. Now he makes two movements there, Mapimpi. The first one's short, the second one makes it, but you can't make two movements. He makes a movement to place it, and then he's unable to place it. So that will definitely not stand as a try. I cannot see how this will stand as a try. He misses it the first time, and then he tries to go a second time, and it does get on the line, but you can't go twice. And so I don't think this is going to be a try. And Peter Bezuidenhout showing exactly what he's supposed to be, an illegal little bastard. And I'm going to remove you from the comments, and nobody likes you, and you can go cry at home. Because, yeah. I will remove you, you little person, you. So, goodbye. We don't deal with such on my channel, thank you. It's not my channel, but on this channel, so you can go away. So, no try and a penalty to the Sharks. And they've opted for a scrum here on the 5-meter line. So just 5 minutes left of this half, and Sharks have got a scrum on the 5-meter line here. Can they get over and put themselves into the lead should they convert the try, of course? We will see, of course. And the scrum has been so dominant throughout the game, so I'm surprised they haven't been utilizing the scrum as a penalty option. They finally do, and I'm sure the scrum is going to be huge as well. And the Sharks do get good purchase. They're starting to move forward a bit, and they're told to use it. So Jaden Hendrickson has to take it out, tries to pass it out the back there, and Mapimpi knocks it on. So it will be a Scarlets scrum now after that little piece of play. So Sharks really stuffed that up a bit and didn't go very well there at all. Very, very frustrating for Sharks fans to watch right now. Not converting that try, or not converting from the scrum at least. And James tried the fancy, tried to pass it out the back of the hand to Mapimpi. Mapimpi was unable to get to the ball. So it will be, as I say, a scrum to the Scarlets on the 5-meter line. It's not going to be very easy to exit from here for the Scarlets because there's not a lot of room to work with. It's right near the touchline. And, of course, they come under pressure in the scrums. They're not really going to be able to get very far forward. So passing it back as quickly as they can to Costello, who should hopefully try and go as far down the line as possible, but it will be difficult. We are going to have a reset scrum as well, though. So we'll just wait to see what happens. There's just about 3 minutes until halftime. And Sharks still find themselves trailing by 6 points to the Welsh side. And yeah, we will see how this goes. And the ball does come out, and he tries to drive it up himself, old Calamafoni. And he does set up a very nice ruck here for Davies, sorry, to take the ball out. He does kick it, Davies, and it does go out, but quite not. No, it's far enough. I suppose it's a decent exit. It's an all right exit there. Yeah. Rulof here saying, Sharks, do not F this up, please. Yeah, so Sharks are still currently trailing. 2 minutes until halftime. Scarlets will be chuffed with the fact that they've got 13 points on the board and they are winning, of course, right now. But the Sharks side are growing with confidence as the game goes on here. A bit of a messy lineup from the Sharks, but they do actually recover the ball and now eventually pass it back to Kieran Bosch. And now Pepsi Buthelezi up the midfield. Sia Khaleesi there to help ruck over. And Thomas du Toit also arrives there now. It comes out from Jaden Hendrickse. Passes out to Lekanya who goes down. Oh, no, he actually keeps going, Lekanya And now Jaden Hendrickse again with the ball. Passes to Oxenchair, who tries to drive up the midfield. Now Jaden Hendrickse again passing back to Kieran Bosch. They're trying to use the backline now. Lekanya passes to Rowan Jansen van Rensburg, who passes to Pepsi Buthelezi, knocks it on very basically. And the ball is recovered from the Scarlets. So the Scarlets are going to continue going. It's a bit of broken play. They're passing it out wide. They've got a number here on the outside, and they're not able to get it there. And it's knocked on now by the Scarlets, so it should be a Shark scrum now. It will be a Shark scrum just in front of the Scarlets 22. So, and the crowd's not very happy because they set up. It was advantage to the Scarlets, but the Scarlets did make use of it. They decided to run it, and unfortunately, with a knock-on advantage, you've got to make a decision as to whether you want to use it or not. And they used it. Which means that you do suffer the fact that you give up your advantage. So it will be a Shark scrum now after a knock-on right at the end there of that line. And just before half-time here, so a last opportunity for the Sharks to get some points before the end of this half. And it is a scrum, of course, which they have been dominating all game. Not winning too many penalties with it, but certainly a very dominant scrum. Rulof here saying, what do you think of the Stormers game last night? I will confess, Rulof, I was out last night. And I didn't actually see all of the game. You tell me, what did you think of the Stormers game? And Sean O'Farrell's here saying, Munster 0, Glasgow 14 was quite interesting. As a huge scrum from the Sharks here. They've got an advantage, and the penalty has been given in the way of the Sharks. So, it's been interesting to see what they do here. Will they go for points? Because it's right at the end of this half. So will they go for points just to try and get themselves closer going into halftime, or will they opt for the line and try and score a try right before the end? They're going for the line. Bosch has gone, kicked it there. It's about 10 meters out from the try line, so just need to put the ball in decently, set up a decent maul, and hopefully the Sharks can try and get over. However, the Scarlets have done very well in this situation. They've only allowed one try through from the Sharks, and the Sharks have been in the 22 many times, not able to convert. And again, Scarlets managed to, they thought they did, but not actually able to. The Sharks do come away with the ball. They thought they turned it over, but not. Now it comes to Vincent Chituka on the 5-meter line. He turns and he drives and he drives and he gets ever close, and it's held up over the line. It is held up, and that will be halftime. Very good defense from the Scarlets. That'll be halftime here. So I will see you in the second half, of course. So before I leave, be sure to go and leave a comment about what you thought of that first half before I leave as well. And yeah, be sure to like the video and subscribe. And we will be back for the second half. And yeah, cheerio for now. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Hey everybody, and welcome back. We are back underway in this URC clash between the Scarlets and the Sharks, and we've just kicked off for the second half, and the Scarlets have already kicked the ball back to the Sharks, and Pepsi Butley tried to get underneath it, but it was hit quite hard there, and now comes to Van Heerden in the midfield, who's now fielded back. Jaden Hendrickson goes to there, pass it out to Werner Koch, who grabs it forward, and there's a big chase. Oh, it's a knock-on from the Scarlets player there. That's unfortunate for him. So, early opportunity here for the Sharks to try and remedy that first half, which was really not that great for them. Lots of unforced errors and lots of fixing to be done. And I hope you don't mind me.
Exactly what they
I'm
wanted.
going to be eating a little bit of dinner whilst I'm doing this because there's been no opportunity for me to be eating dinner. Been doing lots of streams and everything like that. So, going back here, and there's a whole lot of chat that apparently happened whilst I was gone. Let's go here.
Bearing down on him.
Johnny McNichol injured in that game against Munster.
Sean saying, Rulof, I thought it was a good game. Just looking for the chat. I'll go and comment on the ones that.
Semi-final in Europe, he might twisted his knee.
Current on the Sharks' lines, especially the throw into the line of defence of poor. The defence is also pathetic. They might not make the UFC quarterfinals. There's a huge scrum from the Sharks here. They're going to win the scrum penalty. They do win the scrum penalty. Massive scrum, as per usual. We've seen today, it's just always dominating in the scrums.
Sebastian and the Scarlets front row.
So the Moon hopes, yeah, it's probably, it's a bit drastic, but yeah, it's certainly not looking too pretty for the Sharks in terms of easy quarterfinalists.
It's been 40 minutes.
Now the Storm has sucked. We lost
immense pressure coming down
from
that big Sharks pack.
My SS sound
as they ended the first half.
Oh dear.
Start the second.
Let's stop that. Sorry. I do apologize. I'm taking that off. I don't know why that was on. That should never have been on. To apologize. But we are back, so don't worry. Apologies for that. Thank you very much, Rulof, for alerting me to that. Don't know why it was on. It was all off the first half, so I don't quite know why that suddenly switched on. So Sharks have completely changed tactic now. With this penalty, not going for the try, they're actually getting points on the board because they've really struggled to convert all of these opportunities into points. So Kieran Bosch now going for the line and straight down the middle. And yeah, very successful kick there from Kieran Bosch to make it 13 points to 10. Scarlet's going to get the restart going now. And he does get the restart going. And underneath it is Pepsi Buthelezi. Tries to come forward. Unable to. Scarlets are almost over this, but penalised off his feet. Shutting off any opponent's player from going and competing there. So Scarlets get penalised. Sharks with another penalty. And things just seem to be going a little bit more in the Sharks' favour so far in these opening 3 minutes. They just seem to be finding a bit more of the sort of playing and form and go forward that they were wanting in that first half. Kieran Bosch now kicking for the line. It's well into the Scarlets half, almost on their 10-metre line. So high potential now for more points for the Sharks again soon. Was thrown in by Bongi and Bonambi. They did not have good lineouts in the first half, the Sharks, but that one was absolutely fine. And the Sharks now building up in the midfield. Here it goes to Oxenchair, who gets carried through, but taken down. Jaden Henderson now passing to Van Heerden. Van Heerden also gets taken down. Jaden Henderson now passing out to Lucanio Am, who tries to find the gaps, but unfortunately he's been mishandled by the players behind him, and the Scarlets come away with the ball. And it's on the halfway line. The Scarlets now find themselves in possession. And now get to attack themselves. And it's opted for the kick here. The Scarlets. It's quite a good kick, to be fair. It's going to make it interesting. And it's been chipped forward now by the wing. He's going to get there, hopefully. And they do score the try. What a try to score for the Scarlets. And, yeah, just as quickly as Sharks had managed to sort of find their feet the second half, they lose it. My word. There you go. Try is scored by Conbeer. I think. No, it's not. By the number 14, I apologize. Not by Conbeer, but I'll remember his name now. Ah, it's fine. Nonetheless, I mean, the Sharks really tried to field. There's a great kick from the Scarlets, to be fair, right into space, and the bounce was very favourable for them. But then after that, just unfortunately, Kerwin Bosch misinterpreting where this ball was going to go. He went, and the bounce is horrible. It went completely the wrong way, and he dives for the ball, not able to get there. It's then chipped forward by the Scarlets winger, and he does just slide over the try line with the ball in hand. So to make it 20 points to 10 with a conversion to come, should make it 22. So Sharks now finding themselves yet again on the back foot. On 20 points, sorry. Conversion's already been done, that's why. Oh my word, and then just as quickly the Scarlets go and knock it on in the restart. Scarlets went up to try and take the ball in, and knocked it straight on, went straight down his throat, and straight out of his hands, straight to the floor. So it'll be a scrum for the Sharks just outside the Scarlets 22. And the scrum is underway. And it's a huge scrum yet again from the Sharks. Massive scrum advantage shown to them. Jaden Hendricks can't really get the ball up properly. But Rohan Jansen van Rensburg charges in. And my word, does he make some ground there. Breaking away, getting past that scrum there. Now comes to Thomas du Toit again. Also putting players on the floor. Making good ground. Jaden Hendricks now takes the ball out as quickly as he can. Passes it very quickly. Great take by Vincent Chituka there into contact. Now comes to Kerwin Bosch, who tries to just chip it. Oh my word, what is he doing? And they're going to come back for the penalty now for the Sharks. And now it'll be interesting to see if the Sharks go for the line or if they go for points again. Will they try and just convert points the whole time? It'll be a very interesting decision to see what they do at this penalty now. I think they're going to go for the line. Yeah, they are going to go for the line. So it's now currently a line out about 8 meters away. And Bongi Bonambi puts the ball in. It's a good throw. But Scarlets did well to get in the middle of that. And I think they've stolen it. They have stolen it. So great defense there from the Scarlets. Stopping the Sharks yet again. Sharks cannot convert points. And they've set up a huge ruck here for the box kick. Box kick is made. And it's a very good kick. Very good exit for the Scarlets. And Sharks, yet again, leaving the 22 without any points. You do have to wonder, they're getting these kickable opportunities and penalties. Just slot them over. Keep yourself closer to the game. Because they keep finding themselves right in the Scarlets' half. And they get so many penalties, but they just never use them for points. They keep going for the line and they keep stuffing up. Errors. Unforced ones as well. Really, really poor. Happy Booyah saying Kerwin is having a shocker except for his kicks at goal. Yeah, Kerwin's not playing particularly well, I suppose you could say. But nobody really in the Sharks team is having a fantastic game. And yet again, it's been misfielded there by Bongi Mbonambi. A shocking throw. Went straight over the line out. And Scarlets now have the ball in their hands. And I thought Sharks would wake up the second half. But in fact, they've actually seemed to have come out worse. And they're setting up yet another ruck here for, I imagine, the up and under. The up and under is put up by the Scarlets. There's a heavy chase here by the try scorer. And not able to. Very well done by Michael Zomla-Pimpi getting that ball there. Jaden Henderson now passing back in. Thomas du Toit to Kerwin Bosch. Comes out to the back. Oh my word, what a mishit of a kick. Far too heavy. He's gone straight out. Luckily, he's pretty much in line with him. But I mean, it went out for a line out on the far side from his kick. in line with him. So Sharks really not doing themselves any favors. We've hit the 50-minute mark, and Sharks are really quite hopeless at the moment, all over the place. So Scarlets now with the line out. Ball goes in. Great line out from the Scarlets. And charging in the midfield here, coming at great speed. Scarlets have been playing very well today. They've done everything right. That's the main thing. They've got all their basics right. And that's always a really, really good help. Scarlets still got the ball here. As a penalty to the Scarlets. They've tapped it and gone quickly. Here goes Davies. He's trying to dance his way there. He's 10 meters away from the try line. That's another advantage to the Scarlets. And he's past the infield. But the Scarlets have knocked it on. But it'll be another penalty to the Scarlets. Just about 10 meters away from the Sharks try line. And it's all in the Sharks and the Scarlets' favour. The Sharks are having a proper mare. And they will go for post here. So Costello will hopefully convert this penalty and make it 23 points to 10. It suddenly opens up the question with regards to the Lions and their quarterfinal attempts. The Sharks are if the Sharks go on to lose this game, the Lions are only 4 points behind them. That's quite scary. Sharks are not playing very well at the moment. Kick to come. And it is converted. So, we have 23 points to 10. Scarlets are leading the Sharks. And in the second half as well, certainly the team on top. And Sharks are really, really, really going to need to wake up. Oh, and again, a poor restart from the Scarlets, but they do manage to eventually gather it back. And this kick to midfield now. There's lots of space here for Bosch, who almost knocks it on. And steps one, but not able to get away from him. Scarlets win the penalty on the halfway line for holding. Everything's going in the Scarlets' favour at the moment. Kerwin Bosch penalised there for not releasing the ball. And Scarlets will have yet another attempt to kick at the line. To try and get themselves an attacking opportunity to go over the Sharks' try line. And Sharks, meanwhile, Van Heerden has gone off and Grobler has come on in his place. So Sharks now going to try and make some changes to see if that's going to make anything, any differences. Yeah, here comes another change as Noche, Sikumbuza Noche comes on for Pepsi Buthelezi. Another line out from the Scarlets. Very well done. They set up the maul, and the maul is motoring forward yet again. It's going forward at quite some rapid pace. Now stops from the Sharks. Advantage to the Scarlets from it. And this ball is still moving forward. And the penalty goes in the way of the Scarlets. So, Scarlets now, this is almost a kickable opportunity again as well. So, will they kick for post from here? Or will they go for the line? And this maul is working for the Scarlets, so maybe they go for the line. And Sharks could find themselves 30 points down to 10. Nah, going for a shot. They're doing the clever decision. Just making sure they get points on the board every single time they get there. So, another kick at goal for Costello. And Scarlets could put themselves now 26 points up to Sharks 10. Happy Brew clearly not very happy at all with Kerwin Bosch here, saying maybe the Sharks should try to move Butter into 10. That's Butter Chamberlain, of course, and bring on a replacement for Kerwin. If someone is available on the bench, can't get any worse. So I'm not happy with Kerwin Bosch right now. And yeah, here comes the kick, and it is successful. So Scarlets now 26 points up to Sharks 10. And yeah, Sharks are going to be wondering how on earth they are in this position, and the Scarlets fans are loving it. Absolutely loving it. Kerwin Bosch restarts this game. Makazulu Mapimpi trying to chase here. And again it's been spilt by the Scarlets, but the Sharks still unable to make it work for them. But it is knocked on from the Scarlets first, so it will be a scrum to the Sharks just outside the Scarlets 22. You do have to wonder how on earth the Sharks are in this position. Devet, you're saying, hey, Sharks, shake my head. And yeah, it is. And we see some more changes. Williams comes on for Hendrickson. Hendrickson did not have a particularly good game, so not surprised he's come off quite early as well. Sharks making lots of changes here, quite desperate to try and get themselves back into this game. Don't have too much time to do it. Of course, the Lions did score 3 tries in 8 minutes in their earlier game to come back and win that. Could the Sharks do the same thing? Their comeback for the Lions started at about the 60th minute, and we're 4 minutes away from there. So Sharks might well be trying and hopefully do what Lions did. A great scrum yet again from the Sharks. Huge go forward. And they get this penalty advantage. And Rowan Jens van Rensburg's trying to rush up the middle. He breaks through a tackle. And he's got through so far. Now Williams passes it through. And yeah, he's going to try and... He's basically trying to speed up the play. Bongi Mbonambi now rushing in. And Williams very, very keen to get this ball out as quickly as possible each time. Not a great pass there to Noche. But nonetheless, Noche picks up well. Williams gets the ball back. Passes out to Kerwin Bosch. He passes it through to Grobler. Not a great pass though. Lukanya Amna out to Sia Khaleesi. Sia Khaleesi takes on one and not able to get past the second. Williams comes through. Passes it through to Grobler, I think it is. He tries to get the ball back and it's kicked forward by the Scarlets. And they'll come back for the penalty for that earlier infringement from the Scarlets. So Sharks still in the attack here but not able to score too many points. Happy here saying again, Grant Williams on. Maybe he can get the team going. Indeed, yeah. Werner Koch here getting a whole lot of congratulations from his team for some reason. I don't know why. So Sharks have yet again opted for the line. So they have to score the try here, and they've not managed to score each time they've come into the 22. Very rarely have they. They set up a maul though. The maul looks very well set, but just as equally, Scarlets have managed to get a decent defensive setup on that maul. But they are still moving forward, the Sharks maul. It's now starting to turn, and it's really now starting to break apart for the Scarlets. This should be a try for the Sharks. Indeed, it will be. Easy as anything. Bongi Mbonambi goes over. And the Sharks now trying to come back again. First try of the second half for the Sharks. They get over. Great maul from the Sharks. And Bongi Mbonambi right at the back of it with the ball in hand. Goes over. Conversion to come. So Kerwin Bosch with the conversion attempt now. And it's over. Straight down the middle. His kicking's been very good today, Bosch. His kicking at goal has been very good. So, 26 points to 17. Still more than a try in it. So, still lots of work for the Sharks to do, but still 20 minutes to do it as well. So, one would surely still back the Sharks to come back into this game. Not too far away. Scarlets, however, will try and see if they can get some more points on the board as well to take it away. Rulof saying, I start to have empathy with my Bulls friends from the last 20 years. You have the best team, but you cannot win. I enjoy that. Noche comes forward with the ball after receiving it from the restart. Bosch tries the up and under from within his own 22. Doesn't work, and now the Scarlets have got the ball. Never mind, and it's turned over just as quickly. Very well done by Werner Koch there, winning the turnover, winning the penalty for his team. And Sharks will now have a go to kick at the line and hopefully get far into the Scarlets half. Bas van Mursa saying, Mursa Blas, saying, Pilchards, you play... What? I don't know what that comment means, but nonetheless. Scarlet's not able to stop the kick from going out. The kick does go in. It's about halfway between the 22 and the 10-meter line. Sharks kicking it, yes. So, will the Sharks come back from this? They've got 19 minutes to do it, and they're still not too far away. So, should be doable. Bongi Wanambi puts the ball in, and it is one there. They set up the maul. He joins in the back. They've turned the maul. This could be dangerous for the Scarlets now because the moment the maul gets going for the Sharks, it's going to be quite difficult to stop. The ball does come out of it, however. Grant Williams takes it out. Oh, my word. And it's gone backwards, however, but then spilt from the Sharks. And now the Scarlets have got the ball. And now it's a bit of broken play, but they're not able to really do much with it. And they set up the ruck already. And it's now kicked forward by Costello. And there's a great chase here happening again. But this time, Kieran Bosch, Butter Chamberlain manages to evade it and take the ball up and get secure ball for his team. Vincent Chichuka now coming up onto his own 10-meter line. Williams passes it back to Kieran Bosch. He tries the up and under. The chase is there from Werner Koch and from Rowan Janssen van Rensburg, but not able to get there. And Scarlets have got a bit of time here. They try to chip in behind here through the middle. He's chasing it. And it's very well chased by Williams, though. And Williams is now trying to come back at them. Spots a gap, not able to make it through. And there's a bit of numbers here for the Sharks, so they can spread out wide. Werner Koch's got space. Werner Koch gets it, however, a bit too slowly, and they're able to come across and cover the Scarlets. Still going, though, Werner Koch. Gets brought down on the halfway line. Oh, my word. Very big rush defense, but way too quick as offsides. And they will come back for that penalty. Offsides. They were too eager to get up on the Sharks line there, the Scarlets. And they will come back for that penalty now. James saying Kieran Bosch is a really, really poor player. Yeah, a lot of people going after Kieran Bosch today. Devet saying, would love to see what Jake White can accomplish with the Sharks players if they played for the Bulls team. True success. Would be interesting. And then Bas saying again, Grant Williams is not 9. He's a classic 14. That boy needs to play wing. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Interesting, yeah. Sharks have opted for the penalty to go for posts, not for the line. It's quite far out. It's a 55-meter kick here. Kieran Bosch has been very good with the boot today in terms of his kicking at goal. But this is a difficult kick. So a very brave call here from the Sharks. And he goes, and it is a great kick. Goes straight down the middle. Great kick there. And back into within 7. So now the Sharks did that. So now they can go and score a single try, convert it, and they will find themselves in the lead. So Sharks starting to come back again into this game. Scarlets taking their time to get this restart going. Venture Costello. And Costello arrives. He kicks it under. And Sikumbuzo Notche tries to drive it up, but not able to get out of his 22. Williams now fielding it. I'm sure you will see an up and under come here. The up and under is there, but it's charged down. Ebenezer tries to regather, but now it's the Scarlets who got the ball. But unfortunately, a couple of spills. But it was knocked on from the Sharks first. So there will be a scrum about on the 22-meter line for the Scarlets on the Sharks 22. So, yeah, Scarlets with a little bit of an opportunity to try and hit back at the Sharks before succumbing to their dominance so far. Happy is saying, great kick at goal from Kerwin, fantastic. James saying, come on the Sharks, and Happy was saying 6 points to drip shot. Just 6 points. And we see some big changes for the Scarlets being made now. And hopefully this is going to try and stop them from conceding too many more. Jones has come on for Callum Maffoni, who had a great game today. He's been everywhere today, and he's being well recognised by the crowd for his efforts. He really did have a very good game, the number 8. But he's replaced by Jones now with 15 minutes to go. Both teams with 2 tries apiece. And yeah, still 15 minutes to go. It's quite a lot of time. But the Sharks do need to get going. And Vernon Cock finds himself off the field and Abrams comes on in his place. Can the Scarlets get something out of the scrum? They have to get the ball out of the scrum first, but the scrum also has to get going first because they're going to have to reset the scrum yet again. James here saying if the Scarlets score here, the Sharks are in deep trouble. Yeah, they are in huge trouble with this score. So it's quite crucial that the Sharks don't allow anything to happen here. Boss saying, Kerwin Bosch, do yourself a favour, get away from the Sardines. They're killing your talent. Come to a real team where we'll make you great again, like when you were at Craven Week. Stormers will make you great. Why? Stormers has got Marty Libok, who's finding a lot of form. I'll stick with Marty Libok. So Scarlets take the ball out, and they do sort of a gap there, Davies, but he's not able to get through. Can the Scarlets convert anything here? Trying to counter-ruck here, the Sharks, but not able to. Ah, it's knocked on by the Scarlets. Oh, it's not knocked on. He managed to recover the ball. Did well. Scarlets trying to find a way through the Sharks' defensive line, but really struggling to do so far. Pass it through to the forwards. The forwards, they're just still trying to drive it up, but they're not making any ground really so far. So Scarlets are going to need to come up with something special to get through the Sharks' defensive line. And it's an obstruction from the Scarlets, so it's going to be a penalty to the Sharks. So after saying all of that, yeah, the Sharks managed to get the ball back in their hands. So the ball has been kicked out on the line. And yeah, Sharks will have a line out again, which has been much better in the second half, their line outs. That's been one of the bigger changes for the Sharks. Their line outs have been better. 13 minutes left though. And yeah, big changes being made here. Bongi Munambi finds himself off the field now, I believe. Yeah, he is off. Is he off? What's happening here? He's confused. I'm confused. Boss saying, my brother Rugby, not only about 23 players nowadays, we need at least a 30-man main squad in the URC Currie Cup and Heineken Cup, as well as Test Rugby. Well, Test Rugby, of course, is not played by your clubs. But I get your point, except for the fact that when you've got the likes of Kieran Bosch and Marnie Libok in the same team, one of them is going to be sitting out and one of them is not going to be happy, and you can't really afford for that to happen. So it's very rare that you have two big name fly halves in the same club. Sharks do manage to win that line out. Very, very difficult. They made it very difficult for themselves, but they do win the line out. Grant now passing it through to Oxenchair, who tries to drive forward himself, gets up to the halfway line, pops it back very nicely, and Kieran Bosch puts in the up and under again, and Mapimpi is chasing very hard here, but very, very well judged by the Scarlets replacement fullback here. And Scarlets now come away with the ball still in hand. Just over 11 minutes left in this game, so Sharks still trailing by 6 points. Scarlets with the ball in hand right now inside their own half. The up and under went up, but the Sharks managed to get the ball back. And no, my word, Ryan Jansen van Rensburg knocks it on. The Scarlets can try and come away with it now. Luckily, the Sharks have managed to stop it in their tracks. We seem to have lost a light somewhere in the stadium. Sure, we'll get it back now. Scarlets now trying to make their own attack here. Sharks really trying to desperately defend here. They try to grab her in behind. It's a big chase. And Buddha Chamberlain does well to find Kieran Bosch, who then also kicks it straight back into the Scarlets half. And it's out in the full, I believe. It's out on the full. So Kieran Bosch has now kicked it out on the full, which means they're going to come all the way back into the Sharks 22. And now the Scarlets have yet another opportunity to try and go for it. Rulof here saying, Bas, I grew up in the West Transvaal. We do not cry over our players that left. No, we don't. Load shedding. Finally, we are not alone. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as bad as that. I wish. Ball comes in from the Scarlets, completely miscued, and the Sharks go and take the ball away out of the back there. Poor. But it's a penalty to the Scarlets. I don't quite know what for. Interesting. Brencher saying Sharks losing me my slip here. Yeah, so not doing very well, the Sharks right now, and could come under a lot of pressure, and Scarlet's doing the intelligent thing and kicking for points again to make it a more than two score game for the Sharks. So Scarlet's being very intelligent so far with all their decisions. They've got a very kickable penalty. They're going to go for posts and take it into a 9-point game probably. Martinus here saying, Common Sharks, it's now or never, guys. Time to use our £1 million players to perform. Yeah, well, Sharks are really struggling right now. Really are struggling to get to grips with this game. Every time I think they're starting to come back into it, they just start not, if that makes sense. Bas just saying, I don't think I said anything about losing players. I just said Bosch must come to the Cape so we can grow that talent. Yeah, I mean, each club to their own. I just don't think Sharks would ever let him go. So Costello does kick it over. So it's a 9-point game. His kicking has also been very good today. The kicking for posts in general today has been very, very good. Scarlets are leading the Sharks by 9 points. The fans know what this means right now. So they're very, very chuffed with their team so far, trying to get them over the line. But still 8 minutes of rugby to play. Sharks have made some forwards changes. We do see Carl Lusardi come on. Massive legs on that man. Kieran Bosch still in the field here. Going to get this restarted for the last 9 minutes of this game, or 8 minutes of this game. And James saying, and that's the game, I think. Well, I think it's difficult to call right now. It's very crucial. These next 5 minutes are huge for the Sharks. They need to try and score a try, or at least get a penalty and put it over in the next 3 or 4 minutes. If they do that, then there's still a chance of them winning this match, but certainly not going to get any bonus points anywhere. And Scarlets still fielding this ball after this restart, doing very well to regather. And I'm sure we'll see an up and under here. Indeed, the up and under is up. And it's not an up and under, it's just box kick for the line. It's actually a very good kick. He's found some good space there, and he's well appreciated by the crowd. Yeah, so it will be a line out to the Sharks at about almost the halfway line. No, 10-meter line inside the Scarlets half. Goes in. Gone up, and it's a skew throw from the Sharks. So that just sums up their day, doesn't it? Errors, basics. Sharks really not doing themselves any favors here. 7 minutes left of this game. Still 9 points to try and make it back. It is a scrum, of course, which they've been very good in, but now it's a brand new front row. So we'll see how they fare. It's still a very good scrummaging machine, this Sharks team. But Scarlets have managed to get it out most of the time. And I'm sure they'll be able to get it out yet again. And so hopefully Scarlets will try and escape and push the ball further into the Sharks' half and play some more rugby that side. A shocking throw there. Really poor throw. So here comes the scrum. Actually looks like quite a good hit from the Scarlets. Indeed, they're actually moving forward quite nicely, but they do take it out quickly, and it's a little bit of fumble, and it's found a big gap here. And there comes the Scarlets, straight through the middle. He passes out wide. It's a bit of a slow pass to the wing. He's going to be caught up here. He steps in, he steps out, he steps back in. He's into the 22. The Scarlets have got the ball right in the attack, coming at the Sharks right now. Oh, it's a completely miscued pass, and the Scarlets are going to have to regather about 10 meters behind the 22, but nonetheless, they still have the ball. So all for the Scarlets right now. They've got huge numbers on the left. They can pass it out there, but it's been again miscontrolled in the pass, and they're all the way back to the halfway line now, and the Sharks now trying to get over this ball, not able to. Scarlets still got the ball on about the halfway line, but they almost got through, and let's see what the Scarlets can do now. The Scarlets now just trying to slow it down, build up pressure through the forwards. Just going to go back to the comments very quickly. Sharks need a proper shark board and bread, as well as their leader, as well as the coach with proper shark blood, not these money baggers or grabbers, I think you mean. The ball went up for an up and under, and it's been gathered back by the Scarlets. The Scarlets still have the ball past the 10-meter line inside the Sharks' half now. They've got a bit of numbers on the outside here. Can they try and make use of it? Not able to. Still got the ball there, the Scarlets here. Building up the phases. Oh, great tackle there from Grobler, just to sort of try and get the team back into it. And a penalty to the Scarlets for coming in from the side. Side entry there. So not good at all for the Sharks. And they're really wasting time now. 5 minutes still to go. This game is starting to slip away. I don't think they can really do it now. Yeah, I can't believe this, guys. Sharks are losing worse than the Bulls, says Budge. Martin is saying, damn it, Sharks, really must we blame coaches or our players? And DeVet saying, I can't believe the Sharks with this game. I don't know what's going on in the Sharks camp, but I hope they sort it out ASAP. They have potential to be the champs with the entire setup they have in place. Indeed, lots of money in the Sharks at the moment, but just not a lot of collegiality, I suppose. DeVet also saying, good game, Scarlets. Was a good game. Yeah, Scarlets did very well today. You know what they did? They did what Sharks didn't, which is get their basics right. And they've just got their basics right the whole time. They've not played particularly fancy rugby at all. It's not much to talk about in terms of their brilliance, but what they have done is made their tackles. They've held their defensive line strong, and when they've attacked with proper guts, and they are going for the kick, of course, with this penalty. And if this goes over, it will, of course, make this a 12-point game, and that's more or less impossible for the Sharks. They'll make it 2 tries in order for them to get into a winning position. I just don't see that happening. And indeed, the Scarlets do put the ball over, so it is a 12-point game. And yeah, Scarlets are running away with this. Sharks are not really going to be able to come back from this. 4 minutes left in this game. And yeah, it's a big gap to make up now for the Sharks. Their visit to Wales is not going to be very successful. The Scarlets fans are as chuffed as anything about this. They're making a couple of subs here. And yeah, Davies coming on for Sean Evans. Sean Evans was quite good today as well. And Costello has made his way up, and he was fantastic today. Probably man of the match. I'd say Costello is probably our man of the match today. And he is now replaced right at the end of this game. Sharks try the short restart, but again, Scarlets are able to get ball back into their possession. So Sharks still not able to get this ball. And here comes what's surely going to be an up and under. And a big chase from the Scarlets. Indeed, there's a huge chase from about 4 of them, 5 of them. It's a great kick. And they swamp. Who is it that's gone down there? I think it's Williams. No, it's Pepsi. It's Sikumbuza Noche. But Sharks do manage to regather. Kerwin Bosch passes quickly, and there's a gap here for Butter Chamberlain. But Chamberlain now running through the midfield. He's got a bit of support. He passes out wide to Abrams. Now comes to Lucanio Am, who's now into the 22. If the Sharks score here, then there's maybe just a little bit of time. And Carl Lusardi now with the ball. They're still inside the 22. Grant Williams now with the ball, taking a little bit of time. Kerwin Bosch passing out to Eben Etzebeth, who passes it backwards. Who passes it back to Kerwin Bosch, who finds a gap but gets taken down. Scarlets doing very well there. Trying to ruck over, but not able to get through. And Grant Williams passes it back. Lusardi now running hard. Grant Williams passing it out. Comes to Lucanio Am, who tries to create something himself. Not able to. Sharks still wasting time. They really need to score in the next minute or so. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. Too much to do with too little time. Sorry. Williams taking this out here. Passes through. Oh my word. Great defense in the Scarlets. And I think that tackle right there. And they win the turnover. That will be the Scarlets game. And they know it too. They know that that's going to be them in the bag. And the fans know it as well. That turnover, absolutely crucial. Just 2 minutes left in this game. Winning a penalty. They're going to kick this far into the Sharks' half from the line. They'll play rugby down there. They know they've won this game. They cannot lose from here, basically. 2 minutes is too much time. As too little time for the Sharks to score 2 tries. And indeed, the kick is made to the line. Goes out. About halfway between the 22 and the 10-meter line. Inside the Sharks' half. Let's put it this way. Sharks, they're going to be ruining their chance here. With all the players they've got, they should have done a lot better today. But basic errors was what cost them. I'm going to go back to the comments here. Sharks never win trophies. Bulls will be the only team to beat Leinster team in Dublin. Jaden here saying, I'm surprised that the Sharks aren't winning because of half the team. Or Springboks, indeed. Darnell here saying, absolutely pathetic from the Sharks. Carly Sardi, you call us too thick, my man. Scarlets win the line out there, and they're setting up the maul, and they're going to try and move it forward and just waste some time. Tibet also saying, let's hope the Bulls can pull it through against Ulster. That's going to be a good match. Hopefully the Bulls have sorted some of their problems. Otherwise, it's going to be a walkover. The maul still set here for the Scarlets. They pass it back. They've got just over a minute left, and it goes through, and they're trying to go through the line. Comes to the winger in the middle of the field. Sharks trying a turnover, but not able to get through the ball. Scarlets still in possession. They're passing through the forwards, and actually just passing along the line quickly, and it's actually finding a little bit of space here. Scarlets trying to come back at it and just making sure they hold on to the ball for the remainder of this match. Just under a minute left here in the Wales for the Scarlets. And they tried a little through, but it's a forward pass. Unluckily, they can't get through. Almost very good play, in fact. WLK saying, I know a good joke. Here it goes. Sharks. Yes, indeed. Bar saying, Lions winning. Damn. Hope the woman manager was in the change room. Not sure who that is. Rudolph saying, we cannot have players-led team. Box proved it with Peter. Sharks have to sort this. Indeed, this is going to be a loss for the Sharks. Sean of Harry saying to Veto stating, compare Ulster to the Spurs of rugby. Have a good squad, but don't go far, I think is what it means. Scarlets are going to win this game. How's that, eh? Jaden saying, are you going to do the Bulls game? I'm not doing the Bulls game. I do believe, I think Rian is doing the Bulls game. Or somebody. Or is it Reza? One of the other members of the team will be doing the Bulls game. The Bulls game will be covered, but it's not by me. I'm doing the next game I do this weekend is Sharks again tomorrow in the Currie Cup, and it's a penalty to the Sharks from this scrum here, and they've taken it quickly. But 80 minutes of time is up. It's advantage back to the Sharks. They didn't retreat 10 meters. Sia Khaleesi now taking it up past the halfway line. Grant Williams passing it out. Eben Etzebeth gets the ball, and Carl Lusardi goes over just to clear. Grant Williams knocks it on. But they will come back for the penalty, so we're still playing rugby here. Bar saying, when is the queer playing? When do the Bulls play? Is it tonight? Is it? I think it's tonight. I think they played straight after this. I think it's the 9 o'clock game. Sharks kick it into the thing. Now, Sharks are basically fighting here for a losing bonus point now to come within 7. If they go and score a try and convert it, they come within 7. So, crucial that the Sharks do try and get a try right at the end. A consolation try just to get a point, which is going to be huge, of course, to make qualifying and playoffs. And, yeah, they're going to go out there. They know they've lost this game. Scarlets are happy as anything. But they need to try and hold on to try and stop Sharks from getting that bonus point. Sharks, however, desperate to try and get that bonus point as well. They set up the maul, and they pop it straight out the maul and pass it through to the back line. And let's see how they can do. Scarlets here picking up the ball, and Sharks do very well to get quite close. They're 10 meters out from the Scarlets line. Can Shark get that bonus point for being within 7? Just 10 meters out. Williams passes to Eben Etzebeth. Etzebeth gets met in the tackle. Williams now passes it out. Comes to Vincent Chituka. Tackle has been made. And Sharks still trying to go through here, but the line is really not good. They're just so disjointed a bit, the Sharks. And here comes Sikumbuza Noche, who's going to burst through the line. He's so close to the line, right onto the line. He managed to beat 2 players. He's actually been quite good since he's come on. They pass it all the way out to Abrams, right on the wing, and he gets taken out. And it doesn't get over for the try. And the Scarlets will win this match. Sharks will not get a bonus point. That is the end of that. 80 minutes are up. Sharks could not score a try at the end, which just sums up their game. Because really, they were just not good enough at all today. Their basics just completely left them down. Defensively, not particularly good. Offensively, no spirit in that team really right now. It's very much a team full of individuals. And the basics let them down today. And that's what the Scarlets did so well, which is why they won 32 points to Sharks 20. Just going to go back through the comments here. Hashtag bring back Everett. David's saying 9:30 is when the Bulls game is indeed. Sharks, there's a lot of things they're going to be needing to go back to the drawing board for. But that ends this URC clash. The Scarlets at home beat the Sharks, full of the Springboks, of course, the Sharks. But Scarlets do come out on top. A great game for the Scarlets. And certainly man of the match goes to Costello, surely getting so many kicks over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kicks that he managed to get over today. Fantastic work from him. So Scarlets do walk away with this game. Not a bonus point victory, but a victory nonetheless. Salisbury Sharks walk away with 0 points. Not a single point gain here. And the next game that I'll be doing this weekend, I'll be doing the Sharks Curry Cup side tomorrow. Let's see if their Curry Cup side can do anything better than their URC side, who are, let's be honest, embarrassed right now. Very much embarrassed. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a joy and a pleasure, of course, presenting this on Forever Sports and with Forever Rugby. I do thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like the video as well. And I will see you all very, very soon. And I'm sure that you guys are going to go all off to the Bulls stream now. We will have a live stream, of course, for the Bulls. I think they've got a little bit of a build-up already happening right there. So go across to the Bulls stream to go and watch that match unfold. But on this match over here for the Sharks and the Scarlets, I am done. I've been Mark. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.